Hello guys, this is your friend Naruto Audio Fanfics and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto Uzumaki embraced the demon fox, ANBU Naruto times Anko Mitarashi, Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto in his desperation takes a turn into a dead-end alleyway. No, not again. Not now. I was all set to attend the academy to become a ninja. Hee, a ninja. Don't make me laugh. You're a demon and now we're going to finish what the fourth Hokage started. Now die demon. The man rounded on Naruto with a rusty kitchen knife intending to gut him. With the help of the mob finally pinning Naruto down, he starts to slice into Naruto's belly and chest. With a sick smile on his face he continues to slowly cut into the boy, not noticing his hair is changing to the same color as the blood spilling from his wounds. Not noticing his eyes changing shape and color from solid ocean blue to a bright red with concentric circles and a slit pupil. The mob and the man never notice until a wave of gravity pushed them out of the alleyway. What the was that? The man asks as he cradles his head in pain. An ANBU in a dog mask lands on the ground next to him. Looks to me like a mob committing treason to me. Weasel round this lot up and take them to Ibiki for interrogation. Find out who put them up to this. A second ANBU lands next to Dog and nods before doing as ordered. Dog gathers the severely injured and dying boy in his arms and takes him to the Hokage. Lord Hokage. Dog burst into the office and startles the old Hokage. What is it, Dog? I was about to head home for the night. Dog sets Naruto on the desk. The mobs again. This time worse than ever, but something strange happened. The old Hokage jumps out of his chair to attend Naruto. Go get my personal physicians. Damn those fools, they will kill us all. You can tell me the details after Naruto is taken care of. Go. Dog body flickers out of the office to do as ordered. Naruto, if your parents saw you like this, they would be beside themselves with fury. I am sorry. Unknown location. Drip. Wake boy. We have much to discuss. Where am I? I'm alive. Yes, but barely. HM. Truly you seem blessed by lady luck. I wish I could say the same. Who are you? Where am I? Naruto jumps back in fright as a large pair of blood red, slit pupil eyes look out at him from within a mountain-sized cage with a paper tag on the front bearing the kanji for seal on it. I am the nine-tailed fox boy. I am the reason they hate you. I have watched your life from within this seal and I am not impressed. Oh, you are weak but not by your own fault. They call you a demon. They mistake you for me, but they are more demon than I. I will kill. I will maim. I will destroy and slaughter, but even I would never torture a child. Naruto looks defeated. So, there is no hope to change their minds. I assume you're the reason I heal so quick. Kyuubi nods. Thanks for that. Hey funny. The person who's nicest to me is the cause of my pain. I just hope I don't drag you down with me. I may have only just met you, but you really are the only friend I've ever had. Sorry. You sound like you're giving up, kid. You aren't dead yet. Besides, if I have my way you will live a long time. Seems the old man got his doctors to help me heal your body. You will wake soon, but before you do, I have some things for you to do and to know. Naruto looks at the Kyuubi shocked before changing his face to determined. I never want this to happen to me again. What must I do? Kyuubi smiles and explains about the new dojutsu he has unlocked and what he wants Naruto to do. 8 hours later at Konoha General Hospital. Naruto opens his eyes and groans at the light. So you live another day, Naruto. Old man. So it wasn't a dream. Kyuubi says hi by the way. The old Hokage pales slightly. You have spoken to it. Is this the first time, Naruto? Is the seal still intact? Whoa, slow down. Yes, to all three. Says he's pissed at the villagers. Says the way they treat me is worse than anything he could bring himself to do. Well, he explained it a bit more gruesomely than that, but that's the gist of it. He gave me instructions on what I should do. Naruto, you really shouldn't listen to him. He could be trying to trick you into releasing the seal. But Naruto just waves him off. The seal is designed to release on its own eventually. He doesn't need to do anything. Hiruzen drops his pipe. What? Why would the fourth design the seal that way? Because his hope for me to be seen as a hero wasn't blind as you thought. He knew that if I was treated right, I would be able to master the Kyuubi's power by the time it broke, and if not, then the Kyuubi would see me as something to be protected and would help me. He really isn't what you think, old man. Why would the nine-tailed demon fox help a human? Because every time he's been out of the seal since before his fight with Hashirama, he's been controlled by an Uchiha. Don't get the wrong idea though. It was Madara the first time, and when he was taken from my mother it was another wielder of the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Dunno what that is, but he says it's beyond all but a few Uchiha. As to why he would help me, well, let's just say he's bored and he is sick of seeing me in this room. Hiruzen closes his eyes in thought and relights his pipe. I see, and what is it he wants you to do about it? As you know, I was to attend the Ninja Academy today, but seeing as my hope to win the respect of this village is now out of my mind, I will not be attending. Instead, I wish for ANBU training. My father wanted me to be a hero, and if I can't do it in the light, then I must step into the shadows. If nobody wishes to see me, then let them not. If they see me as a demon fox, then let me be one. Hiruzen looks at Naruto's eyes and sees determination. But remembers what Dog told him about Naruto. Naruto, would you please channel chakra into your eyes for a moment? Naruto smiles at the Hokage. So, I take it an ANBU came by just in time to see that, huh? Yeah, he told me about the Rinnegan. Said it was a new variation though. Different from the sage or his mother. Naruto activates his eyes. The old Hokage looks at the eyes curiously. And what did he call this new variation? Kitsunegan. It seems to have a few powers from each of the three great dojutsus and a couple new ones. Since there is nobody capable of teaching me to use them, that falls to him though, so I would appreciate it remaining between only those who now know. Hiruzen nods. I don't like the idea of you joining ANBU at your age. In fact, I was never planning to let you do so. Besides, normally there are rules as to the requirements to join, just like the requirements for any ninja rank. However, I will make an exception. With your knowledge of the fox and with those eyes, it is now far too dangerous for you to live out in the open. I will apprentice you to some of my finest ANBU. Within the 5 years it would take you to graduate the academy, you will be trained to at least Chunin level, or you will be forced into the academy. Deal. Naruto nods. I only have one request. Hiruzen quirks an eyebrow and motions for him to continue. The civilian council. They must know nothing. The elders too. The fox says the mobs were too organized to be random. Somebody was helping them, and given my father's reputation, I doubt it was any of the clan heads. Ha, so he told you about them, did he? Yes, I have suspected as much for a while, but have not had the resources to prove any wrongdoing. Deal. I will also assign an ANBU for a long-term mission to investigate the council. But remember, you have 5 years to achieve Chunin level in at least Taijutsu, Ninjutsu and Kenjutsu. Naruto grins his foxy smile. Old man, in 5 years Chunin will be the least I can achieve. 1 week later at ANBU headquarters. A man wearing headgear much like the second Hokage is sitting at his desk looking over a file. So, he's sending him to ANBU. Ha, this is going to give me such a headache, I just know it. Hinoka, get me Dog and Weasel. His secretary nods and leaves his office before returning 5 minutes later with the requested ANBU members. You called Tenzo. Tenzo nods. You two are getting a new apprentice. He will train alongside Kat. Hokage orders you to give him the most grueling training you can, as he wants him up to Chunin or better in the 3 primary ANBU skills within 5 years. Dog and Weasel look at each other before Weasel asks. That kind of training would be difficult even for a prodigy. Who is it? Tenzo pauses before nodding. Naruto Uzumaki. According to the Hokage, short of killing him or any permanent damage, anything you can do to him will heal quickly, so hold nothing back. This is a make or break mission. The Hokage doesn't truly want him here, so he has set a deadline, and the method is to test his will to commit to his chosen path. If he can't take it, then he will go to the academy and be watched constantly. You should know. His appointment is an S-class secret, as are any abilities or skills he has or develops until further notice. Dog looks down and folds his arms. So, Sensei's son, seems fitting. Does he know of his parentage? Tenzo nods. Do I have leave to teach him his father's jutsu? Tenzo nods again. He will have access to his father's Hiraishin once he retires from ANBU, but until then you can teach him Rasengan. It's noticeable, but technically anybody who has seen the jutsu can learn it if they understand how it works, and because you are known to know it, nobody will question it. He should be here soon, so dismissed. Dog and Weasel flash out of the room to meet Naruto at the entrance. Is this the place? Damn, and I thought I had pranked every ANBU hideout. Dog steps out of the shadows. You did. This one is new. He, honestly, I'm a big fan of those pranks. How you do them wearing neon orange is beyond me. Naruto shrugs. When your life is on the line, it doesn't matter what you wear. You learn to be invisible. Besides, it's all the villagers will let me buy. They don't sell me anything else and destroy anything I find. Thanks, by the way, for saving me. Dog nods. Come. First we need to get you registered and outfitted, then we get your mask. 1 hour later, Naruto is wearing standard ANBU gear minus a mask or sword. Small. You haven't been eating well, have you? Naruto shrugs. I eat okay. When I can eat, that is. Pretty much all I can afford is ramen though. Much as I like it, I am beginning to get tired of it. Never thought that would happen. Weasel chuckles. Well, you don't need to worry about all that now. New living space and supplies will be provided until you can support yourself and make full ANBU. Once that happens, we have access to certain stores which will not discriminate, so that won't be a problem. I will warn you now though. We have orders to give you the harshest training we can think of. We will break you, fix you, then break you some more. If you can't take it, then you will be thrown out to the academy. Are you certain this is what you want? Dog hands him a blank ANBU mask. Naruto nods and takes the mask. Then channel chakra into the mask to reveal your animal. Naruto does so, and the mask changes into a kitsune the same color as his hair. Blood red. Kakashi chuckles. Ironic. Fox. Crafty. Loyal, and when provoked vicious. And the color. Same as your mother's hair. Your hair too now, I guess. Naruto nods and puts on his mask. Come. Time to meet your other teachers and your fellow student Red Fox. 2 years later, near the border between Fire Country and Wave. Dog Sensei. Why has the Hokage sent us out here? You never did tell us the specifics of the mission. Dog looks at Cat and nods. As you know, Weasel was given a mission last week to kill his clan. As far as the village knows, he is a murderer and missing Nin, as this mission was a black op. However, over the past 2 years he has taught you all he could in Kenjutsu, but Naruto has yet to find a sword which fits him. The Hokage believes that the answer may lie in the ruins of Uzushigakure. Cat starts at this. The village hidden in the eddies. But that would mean. Cat looks at her quiet fellow student. You say too much, dog. Any more and she might as well know my name too. Dog shakes his head. Just because our names and faces are forbidden to be known outside ANBU doesn't mean you can't share with each other. Naruto frowns behind the mask. I know who my parents were, and that's enough for me. As far as I am concerned, Red Fox is the only name I need until I must take off this mask. I entered the shadows to do what I would never be allowed to do in the light. That is all she needs to know. Dog sighs in disappointment. Very well. Rest up, you two. We head out again soon. Hi. A few hours later in Uzu. So, the Hokage was right. The whirlpools around Uzu are seal-based and tied to your lineage. The Red Fox nods while they walk towards the only building left standing. He said something about that, but because of my condition he doesn't want me learning sealing beyond the basics until I make full ANBU. Now let's see if he was right about everything else. The redhead swipes blood across a seal on a large stone door, unlocking it. The door swings inward slowly while releasing 50 years of stale air and dust. So more than a simple blood seal then. More like a preservation seal. Cat follows curiously while dog shakes his head. Condition or not, you have a talent for seals and it's going to waste. Still, based on your progress, I doubt you have long till you make full ANBU, even if you aren't quite up to what you agreed on yet. Naruto stands at the entrance to a small vault. Like I said, 5 years will be more than enough to reach that and more. He looks around slowly. I'm surprised. Such a small vault in such a large room. Like whatever they put in here was worth protecting against the lives of the whole village. There's a tingling in my hand, like something is calling to me. Dog nods. Open it then. Let's see what we find. Naruto does his order and opens the door to find 3 scrolls and a katana in a blood-red sheath. The hilt is decorated with a silver fox in mid-roar. I am flattered. They even got the nose right. Hey, somehow I'm not surprised that they have some kind of link to you. Naruto examines the scrolls. One is red and has the Uzumaki crest on it. One is black tied with a white ribbon and sealed with a blood seal. And the third is a large scroll with a depiction of a dragon on it. Dog looks at it with curiosity. A summoning contract. For dragons, if the artwork is any indication. I didn't even know if they were real, let alone that they had a contract. If I was you, I would wait until you are stronger before you sign it, and not anywhere near a populated area. Naruto nods, but Cat asks why. Because dragons were said to be large, fearsome creatures almost as strong as a tailed beast. Every summon clan boss tests its summoner in a way unique to the clan to find out if they are worthy. With a clan like dragons, that is likely to be destructive and difficult. Dog nods. Well, we got what we came for. Time to return to Konoha. 1 year later. Naruto now stands 5'9". A respectable height for a 13-year-old. After 3 years training, he has built his body from a scrawny stick to something a runner or UFC champion would be proud of. Just enough muscle to make the ladies drool without looking like a bodybuilder or slowing him down. Even better, he finally got his ANBU brand. He's also close to completing his arrangement with the Hokage if his sensei is any judge. He's only sad Weasel could not be here to see it. He owed him a lot. Still, before leaving, he asked him to look after his brother. Naruto is worried about what Sasuke has been like since his brother betrayed his clan. What was Itachi thinking? Using that jutsu on a 10-year-old kid? Might as well have just killed him for all the good it would have done his mind. Hatred and revenge has always been the way of the Uchiha. Even before Madara. Even with the Mangekyo, I could respect Itachi, but this brat, you may have to kill him someday if he continues down this path. Are you really ready to do that? Itachi did what he did for Konoha. If Sasuke betrays the village, I will do what I am ordered to do. If that leads to his death, then so be it. Naruto turns to walk down the street heading to his private hideaway. A place near the Forest of Death he found a few months beforehand that gave him some privacy, quiet, and a nice place to bathe or swim in peace. But when he was nearly there, he felt a pair of feminine hands wrap around his chest rather seductively. He knew she was there, of course, but he was curious as to her intentions. Hey there, handsome. What's an ANBU like you doing all the way out here? Naruto his head. Anko Mitarashi. Cat told me of you. She didn't do you justice. Anko smirks. Oh, and what did she say about me? That you are an outcast. Hated for something not your fault. Yet you continue to be loyal to the village even after all they have said and done to you. Naruto shakes his head. I can relate. Anko looks at the ANBU curiously now. He can relate. Who are you? What else did she say about me? Naruto smiles behind his mask. Beautiful, intelligent, a little sadistic, and a true friend. Like I said, she didn't do you justice. Anko blushes a little at the compliment. And what are you doing out here? I'm pretty much the only one who even comes near the Forest of Death except during the Chunin exams. Naruto nods. A few months ago, I found a nice spot out here to relax. I was headed there. Naruto looks back at Anko and considers a moment before deciding. I trust Kat's judgment. I won't object if you wish to join me. Anko is taken aback at his offer. Everything she has heard of this ANBU says he is secretive and does not take kindly to intrusion. But he offers her his company in his secret relaxation place. She could not deny she is curious about him. Sure, I could use some relaxation. After a few minutes walking through the brush and woods, they arrive at a small clearing with a waterfall and a pool. All in all, a beautiful glade. Anko is stunned. I thought I had explored the whole of the woods on this side of the village. Never knew about this though. Naruto nods. I was training near here when I exhausted myself and fell in the stream. Woke up when I went over the falls there but didn't stay conscious long. Was 2 days before I woke up and found my way home again. Anko looks at the falls and notices it's almost as high as the Hokage Tower. How did you even survive that drop? Naruto shrugs, then takes off his shirt and mask. This catches Anko's attention until she notices he has a half mask under his ANBU mask like Kakashi's. As he moves to enter the water, she notices the scars on his body and gasps. It can't be. I thought he was dead. Naruto. Naruto looks at Anko before looking away in sadness. I haven't heard that name in 3 years. Naruto removes the face mask before looking back at Anko. How did you figure it out? Not even Kat knows who I am. In fact, only a select few do. Anko nods hesitantly. As a kid I'd seen you around the village. I asked the Hokage about you once and he told me about you. I was actually heading to ask if you wanted to be friends that night when I saw a boy in the arms of an ANBU. The hair wasn't what I remembered, but I knew it was you. Nobody saw you after that and most thought you died. Naruto sits on the edge of the water and looks down at his reflection. In a way I did. I doubt the Hokage told you why I was hated. But because of it I was determined to become the best ninja I could be so I could win the respect of the villagers. That meant the academy. But the very day before I was to enter, the mob found me again. This time they tried harder than usual to kill me. Luckily, they failed, though it was just barely. I lost hope that I would ever win their respect after that. I would have left the village, but somebody dear to me had the hope I would grow to be a hero of this village. To protect it, I decided if I could not do it in the light, then I would do it from the shadows. Only the Hokage, my senseis, and the ANBU commander are aware of who I am and my status. Well, until now. Anko sits beside him. Well, I won't tell anybody. Not even Kat if you don't want me to. She's a good friend, but everybody has their secrets. And their demons. Naruto smiles and looks at Anko, causing her to blush. I appreciate that, and maybe someday I will tell you about mine. Anko smiles and they sit in companionable silence for a few minutes before she asks. Would you like to go out sometime? I mean only if you want to. Naruto blushes as he looks at Anko, shocked. Well, I would love to, but won't the mask make that kind of thing a little difficult? Anko shakes her head. It's a little different, sure, but well, could you maybe just wear the face mask? I like looking into your eyes. She does so and they both blush. Well, I've been avoiding taking off my ANBU mask around anybody, but, well, I suppose it couldn't hurt. He shrugs. Not as if the villagers will recognize me as long as I wear the face mask. Sure. Maybe next week. Anko nods with a smile and they go back to their silence for a while before Anko asks. Naruto grins. You know, you aren't anything like I expected. I almost thought you would be a major flirt and there would be no chance of a shy blushing beauty under that sadistic facade. Anko smiles. We all have our masks. She then looks around with a content smile. This place is like a dream. Would you mind if I brought my friends Hana and Kurenai here? Naruto thinks a moment before answering. Kurenai Yuahi and Hana Inuzuka, right? Anko nods. That's fine. They're Kat's friends too. Just don't let this place become common knowledge. Oh, and make sure Hana is careful. You know how nosy and how much of a big mouth her brother is. Anko her head. No, I didn't, but I do now. I'll make sure they're careful. Wow, you seem to know a lot about us all. Anko gets a playful smirk. Been stalking us, have you? Naruto smiles and shakes his head. Everybody knows the Ice Queens of Konoha. As for Kiba, he would have been in my class at the academy. Well, after I failed the genin exams a couple times anyway. I thought it wise to learn of all the clan heirs and what would have been my classmates had things turned out different. Anko frowns. What do you mean? Naruto looks her in the eye before turning back to the water. Since I entered ANBU, the Hokage has had an ANBU on a long-term investigation into corruption. He found out somebody on the council was manipulating the academy to give the civilian kids a better chance at becoming ninja. Of course, it's all about power and money so their kids can get closer to prominent clans and possibly marry into them. Naturally, if I had entered the academy, they would have done all they could to sabotage me. They wouldn't need to do much. Change a couple test scores, give me false information. A genjutsu on a test. In the end, it would fall to a single jutsu that is impossible for me. Clones. A requirement to graduate. Why can't you do clones? Naruto shrugs. Too much chakra. Anko is confused. You're only what, 13? How could you have so much chakra that you can't use control exercises to do something as simple as a clone? Naruto frowns and looks away. Should I tell her? She's seen your face and listened to you with nothing but understanding. I say trust her, but it's up to you. Naruto nods. Well, for starters, my last name is Uzumaki. As in the clan, we always had dense chakra. That would make it difficult enough, but, on the day of my birth was the same day the Kyuubi attacked. The fourth could not kill it, so he sealed it within a newborn baby. I am the Jinchuriki of the nine-tailed fox. Anko freezes in shock and looks at Naruto before she smiles in understanding. So, when you said you could relate, that's what you meant. Wow. Seems you were talking literally about having demons. Anko then frowns as she realizes that's why the villagers treated him the way they did. The damn fools. A kunai is not the scroll it is sealed in. Naruto looks at Anko in shock. Why, you're not afraid of me? Why you don't hate me? Anko smirks. Hell no. The fox doesn't matter cause you are Naruto, not the Kyuubi. Besides, I said I would go out with you. Can't hate or fear my date, now can I? Naruto grins his foxy smile. Anko blushes and drools. I wonder if having all that chakra is going to give you a boost in the bedroom. Naruto suddenly flies backwards in a massive nosebleed, causing Anko to roll around on the ground laughing. A few months later, Naruto and Anko had been going out in secret the past few months and they were both quite happy with each other, although Kurenai and Hana were always asking about her mysterious boyfriend. So Anko, when do we get to meet this mysterious boyfriend of yours? Kurenai giggles. Not to mention thanked him for leading us to that little hideaway. I feel so relaxed since I stopped having to worry about perverts. Anko's sweat drops. Come on girls. He'll meet you when he's ready. He's not had the best life and he's kinda not a people person because of it. Hana nods as she enjoys a dango stick. Yeah, Yugao said he's her ANBU partner, but she's never seen more than his hair and eyes. Nobody knows much about him except that he's a really good ANBU. Kurenai frowns. Wait, you aren't talking about this red fox person that's been making a name for himself, are you? Hana nods. Wow. Only a few of his missions are public record, but his completion rate is impressive. 6 months, 82 missions between high C and lower rank and not a single failed mission. Anko grins. I won't tell you much about him, but I will say this. He's a couple years younger than us. Hana spits her green tea. What? Kurenai raises an eyebrow. I thought he would be older. ANBU at that age is impressive enough, but a record like his as well. Seems like you landed yourself quite the catch, Anko. I'm a little jealous. Anko smirks. You say that like I wouldn't be willing to share. This time it's Kurenai who spits her tea, causing Anko to cackle. Why, you're not serious, are you? Anko smirks. Well, he isn't a pervert, so he wouldn't ask, but I wouldn't have a problem with it. Besides, if you knew him. Kurenai and Hana share a look and smile at Anko, knowing it's true love. Well, we'll see what happens when we meet him. Hana grins before asking again. So, When are we going to meet him? Kurenai giggles and Anko groans. 5 years after entering ANBU. Dog, you may remove your mask. You're being reassigned to regular duty. The ANBU removed his mask to reveal a face mask and his headband over his left eye. Gray gravity-defying hair and bored look on what little of his face you can see. This is Kakashi Hatake. So, it's time to discuss whether Red Fox made good on his promise. How would you rate his skills? Kakashi I smiles. His stealth has always been impressive. His ninjutsu would give me a run for my money. Taijutsu or at least mid to high chunin, kenjutsu low junin. No genjutsu skills, though his ability to break them is more than acceptable for ANBU. I don't know about his progress with his special skills, but everybody needs an ace, I guess. All in all, a couple more years and he won't have a rival in ANBU. The Hokage smiles and nods. Good. And his mental health? Improving, if you can believe that. The past 2 years seems to have lifted some of the anger and sadness from him. Though he still doesn't let his identity slip to his fellow ANBU. I've seen him around the village in his face mask. Hiruzen strokes his chin in thought. Any idea what brought him out of his funk? Kakashi I smiles again. He got himself a girlfriend. Oh, anybody I would know. Anko. Hiruzen chuckles. I would worry about that, but I did wonder why complaints about her have dropped so drastically over the past 2 years. Seems they've done each other good. I do wonder how they met though. Kakashi shrugs. He wouldn't say. Not my business anyway. Whatever works for him, I say. So, what's my next assignment? Hiruzen lights his pipe. In 2 years Sasuke Uchiha will graduate the academy. The council wants you to be his sensei. Once his Sharingan awakens, you are to focus on training him in that. Until then, just regular Junin duty. Kakashi frowns behind his mask. I don't like that idea, Lord Third. It shows favoritism, and that's not how I was taught. Besides, Itachi asked Naruto to keep an eye on Sasuke, and Naruto thinks he is a flight risk. I think he should be watched. Hiruzen raises an eyebrow. What makes him think this? Kakashi shakes his head. It would probably come better from him. He's a better judge of character than I am. Hiruzen nods. Well, your orders stand until further notice. Send in Red Fox as you leave. Dismissed. Kakashi bows and leaves the room, sending Naruto in behind him. You called for me, Lord Hokage. Hiruzen's eyes sadden. As much as the respect pleases me, I do miss when you used to call me old man. Naruto shrugs. I had to break a lot of habits to ensure nobody would recognize me. Besides, that child died that day 5 years ago. I am what I am now. Hiruzen nods. Kakashi tells me you more than fulfilled your promise. Do you intend to stay in ANBU? Naruto nods. A few more years at least. I feel like I haven't done enough yet. Like I'm not strong enough yet. Very well. Kakashi is being reassigned to regular duty. When Sasuke Uchiha graduates, he is to be his sensei, but Kakashi tells me you believe he is a flight risk. Care to tell me why? Naruto explains about Itachi's jutsu and Sasuke's revenge. I see. I wasn't aware of the Tsukuyomi. Rest assured he will be watched. Naruto nods. I will also continue to watch him when I can. Itachi asked me after all, and I still hate to break a promise. Hiruzen nods. You will be team captain. Kat will remain on. Do you have any suggestions for your other team members? Naruto shakes his head. Honestly, I work well with Kat, but we are fine on our own for the most part. If a mission comes up that requires more than just team us up temporarily with another team. She's been complaining lately that the missions have been less than challenging anyway. Naruto and Hiruzen chuckle. Alright then. By the way, how did you meet Anko? Kakashi told me about her. Naruto tilts his head. She's a friend of Kat and she was curious about me. I had no problem with trusting her a little because of that. Didn't expect her to guess my identity from the scars though. Does she know about your parents or your tenant? Not my parents, but I told her about Kurama. She's been very understanding. Her friends have been bugging her to meet me. Do you trust them? Naruto nods. They are also Kat's friends and she does. Kurenai and Hana. Hee besides it's starting to irritate Anko. Hiruzen nods with a smile. I do wish ANBU wasn't your calling, but it seems to be perfect for you. You have my leave to reveal your identity to them, but be careful. Naruto nods and smiles behind the mask. Is there anything else, Lord Hokage? Hiruzen shakes his head. Take a couple days off. Even you need a break every now and then. Naruto nods and body flickers away to his relaxation spot to meet Anko. When he arrives, he discovers she is not alone but with her friends. Hello Haim. Anko grins. Boy toy. So, did he give you the okay? Naruto nods. Hana, Yugao and Kurenai are all paying attention by now. Kurenai notices the mask and smiles. Hey Anko, is this the guy you told us about? What's going on? Anko told me you were getting a little too curious about me. I trust my partner and I trust Anko, so I am going to try to trust you. The Hokage gave me the okay to let you in on a few secrets. So, first of all, Naruto slowly removes the mask and pulls down the face mask underneath and looks directly at them all. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. It's nice to meet you all. Naruto smirks at their shocked and blushing faces. Hana recovers just quick enough to speak. How? I thought you were dead. Naruto nods and sits by the water like he did with Anko and explains everything to them, from his parentage to his induction into ANBU and his reasons why. After the explanation, Yugao smiles. So that's why you kept your identity even from me. You couldn't let word get out about you or the council would start making demands. Naruto nods with a small smile. You're all taking this far better than I expected. Anko freaked out when she found out about me. But yeah, sorry for keeping it from you, Yugao. I just wanted as few people to know as possible until I could protect myself. Yugao waves him off. Nah, I'd have done the same. Kurenai tilts her head. How did Anko figure out your identity? Naruto smiles. She saw me around as a kid and asked the Hokage about me. That night 5 years ago she was on her way to meet me for the first time but found me bleeding in Kakashi's arms. Assumed I was dead like everybody else. But, Naruto stands and takes off his armor and shirt to show them the scars. Yugao, Hana and Kurenai are shocked at the sight. Naruto sees their looks and smiles sadly. Yeah, the 9 tails can't heal everything. Who knew? Anyway, Anko saw the scars in my hair and connected the dots. Hana now nods and asks. Yeah, speaking of your hair, I thought you were a blonde. Anko answers for him. The trauma from the attack awakened a bloodline and changed some of his features. Naruto nods. My eyes are a darker shade than they used to be, besides a dujutsu. My hair changed. He removes his gauntlets. Claws. Stronger sense of smell and hearing. I also seem to be more attuned to nature, though it's not quite a sage mode, it does enhance me a bit. To prove his point, he walks over to a boulder the same size as he is and lifts it with one hand. Yugao and Hana smirk and Hana elbows Anko in the ribs. So how is he in bed? Anko blushes and Naruto chuckles. We haven't had yet. Kurenai isn't sure she heard right. I'm sorry Anko, I think I missed that. Did you just say you hadn't had? Anko blushes and Naruto chuckles a little louder. We wanted to wait till things settled down a bit with me. Naruto grins and turns to Yugao. Hey, were you told? Yugao gives him a confused look. What? Kakashi's been transferred to regular duty. I've been promoted to captain and you and I will get to go on missions by ourselves unless another team needs help. You finally get that challenge you were looking for. Yugao grins and Anko squeals like a fangirl. Naruto, do you know what this means? You're now the youngest ANBU captain since Itachi. You're going to be famous. Naruto shrugs. Fame isn't my thing. Besides, it also means we get more time off between missions. And more time with each other. Naruto smiles, then is startled as Anko tackles him and presses her lips to his. As they break their kiss, Anko grins sadistically, making Naruto sweat. Oh, we're doing it tonight. And you better rock my world. Naruto chuckles before rubbing her cheek with his hand. Anything you want, my Haim. Ah. Naruto and Anko now take notice of their audience and sweat drop. Anko then grins again. Maybe they want to join us. Naruto whips his head to Anko so fast they all hear a painfully loud crack making them all wince. Wait, what? Hana shakes her head before winking at Naruto. Maybe another time, handsome. I need to be heading home. Yugao and Kurenai smile and also excuse themselves. So Haim, what do you want to do for the rest of the day? Anko pouts in thought. I need to go back to work soon, but how about we take a quick nap right here together? Naruto smiles and pecks Anko on the cheek before lying back. Anko lays her head on his chest and closes her eyes with a content smile. Later that day, Naruto decided after Anko went back to work to spend the rest of the day at the hot springs. While relaxing with his mask on, he heard several teenage girls enter the spring. They didn't notice him at first, so he decided to ignore them and continued to relax, but it couldn't last. One of the girls was a Hyuga and noticed him there and told her 3 friends. Unfortunately, one of them was a certain pink-haired hothead and stomped over to him intending to bop him on the head. Perverted baka. Naruto grabbed her wrist before her fist could impact and raised his head to look her in the eye. If I was less understanding, you would be spending some time in a cell for attempting to assault an ANBU. Besides, I take offense at being called a pervert. Everybody is a pervert even if they deny that part of themselves. What differs is how we act on those thoughts. Naruto releases her wrist and she stumbles back. You can't be an ANBU, you're no older than us. Naruto showed her the brand on his right arm. Sakura Haruno, daughter of Mebuki Haruno, councilwoman on the Civilian Council. Age 13. Currently in your 3rd year of the Ninja Academy. Naruto turns to the other 3. Ino Yamanaka, daughter of Inoichi Yamanaka of the Yamanaka clan. Member of the Torture and Interrogation Squad. Age 13. Currently in 3rd year of the Ninja Academy. Hinata Hyuga, daughter of Hiyashi Hyuga and clan heir. Age 12. Currently in 3rd year at the Ninja Academy. Tenten Higurashi, adopted daughter of Arashi Higurashi. Current owner and proprietor of Higurashi's weapons and apparel shop. 15 years of age, recently graduated to rank genin. Teammates are Rock Lee and Neji Hyuga under Maida Guy. Known as the weapon mistress of Konoha. I have files on all of you and only Tenten and Hinata impress me at all. Naruto looks directly at her, making her blush. Learn some elemental ninjutsu and you might have a shot in ANBU someday. Hinata only needs confidence in herself. Naruto turns back to Sakura. As to my age, I am also 15. I entered ANBU instead of the academy. As you said, normally that's not allowed, but I was made an exception for. I won't say more. But if you were more observant as a ninja should be, you would have noticed the sign by the door which says mixed bathing day. If it bothers you that much, though, I was just about to leave. Naruto stands up and they see the scars shocking them and Sakura falls over in the water. Not a pretty sight, I know. If you are curious, it happened when I was 10 years old. People are cruel to the things they fear, and they fear what they don't understand. Just remember never to judge based on what you don't know or only on what you see. Look underneath the underneath. On his way out the door he pauses and tells them over his shoulder. Hinata. Kindness is a wonderful thing, but if you cannot close off your heart, you will only allow those you care for to be harmed. You must learn when kindness may be cruelty in disguise. And to Sakura and Ino. You two are jokes as a kunoichi. If you don't take your training seriously, you will only be dead weight. You will die, or worse. Worse than that, you will drag down your team. To depend on others is fine, but if you can't stand on your own, then you should quit being a ninja. Hinata, tell Kurenai I said hello. Naruto turns away without another word and walks out, leaving 4 stunned girls behind him. Ino blinks and closes her mouth. Wait, that mask. Daddy told me about him. Ino shivers. You got off luck, forehead. Sakura nods without understanding, but Hinata and Tenten turn to Ino. What did your dad say about him? ANBU are a secretive bunch of ninjas. Only admitting the best of the best. They answer only to themselves and the Hokage. Dad said among them there is a young man with a red fox mask. He said he's as dangerous as they come and strict on the law. He's apparently mellowed out over the past couple years, but Dad said to keep on his good side no matter what. Most of his mission record is classified and nobody knows who he is, or at least nobody who's telling, but he's done more than any other ANBU over the past 5 years by far. Tenten blushes. Wonder if he's single. All three girls look at her like she's crazy. What? Did you see the abs on the guy? Now I wanna see his face. Sakura shivers. I don't know about his face, but I saw his eyes through the mask. They scare me. Beautiful but deadly. Like a well-made kunai. The eyes of a killer. At this point the girls are joined by Kurenai and Yugao. Who are we talking about, girls? Ino looks at the new arrivals. The red fox. We just met him. Hinata smiles at Kurenai. He says hello Kurenai-sensei. Kurenai and Yugao share a smile. He scares you, I take it. 4 nods. Kurenai giggles. And I take it Sakura's comment means she saw his eyes at a time when he was less than pleased. Sakura nods. I've never seen such coldness. Kurenai shakes her head in disappointment. I see why he was displeased. Yugao nods with a frown, but the other 4 are confused until Kurenai explains. You said he had cold eyes. The eyes of a killer. Tell me what he said to you all. Tenten explains. Afterwards Kurenai and Yugao smile. You should be honored, Tenten. He doesn't give praise often. As for the rest of you, he gave you the answers to your questions. Specifically, Hinata. Hinata twiddles her fingers nervously. Why you mean what he said about being kind? How it's a good thing, but if you can't act because of it then you will only hurt your team and yourself. Kurenai nods. As shinobi there will be times when you must do despicable things. Hurt others, kill or even seduce a target to gain information. What you saw in his eyes was not the eyes of a killer but the eyes of a shinobi who knows of the darkness in our line of work even more so than we do as regular shinobi and is willing to do what is necessary to complete his missions. He gave you all good advice. Yugao nods. Thankfully as regular shinobi those missions will be much rarer for you, and until you are at least an experienced chunin it's unlikely you will have to take such missions. He may seem cold to you, but he was only looking out for you. Kurenai giggles. And sorry Tenten, but yeah he's taken. Tenten blushes in embarrassment. Anyo, he's only Tenten's age, but how strong is he? Yugao looks thoughtful. In ANBU there are no true ranks. You're either ANBU, captain or commander. True, normally you need to be high chunin or junin to join, but he's an exception. However, since I've known him, he's never shown his full strength, but I will tell you this. Most junin would have trouble with him. His kinjutsu is almost as good as mine and his taijutsu as good as Guy's, just not as fast. I don't think he'd appreciate me saying much more on that though. Ino tilts her head. What's it like working with him? Yugao smiles. It's hard to keep up with him sometimes, but he makes most missions too easy. That's going to change a bit now though. Our captain just transferred to regular service and he just made captain. Means we're going to be taking the same missions with just us 2 instead of a full squad unless a mission requires more. Kurenai looks up at the sky realizing they had spent several hours talking. I think it's time we all head home. But I highly suggest each of you think long and hard about what he told you and how you are going to take that advice. After all, it's not just your lives on the line. Yugao and Kurenai leave them with their thoughts. Elemental ninjutsu, huh? Much as I want to be a weapons mistress, an ace in my sleeve would be a good idea. I need to talk to Guy Sensei. Maybe he was right. If I can't learn to be stronger, I will only hurt those on my team. I must learn to harden my heart. Hinata and Tenten, having found their resolve, leave the hot springs to go train. Ino and Sakura, though being used to being the smartest girls in class, have no idea how to take the advice. Later at night, Naruto turns up at Anko's place with dinner in hand and knocks on the door. The door opens and there stands Anko in a very corset and lingerie combo which completely shuts off his brain until she grabs him by the shirt with a grin and drags him inside and straight into the bedroom. Crashing onto the bed he laughs. I'd say be careful for my first time, but I get the feeling that's not your style. Anko grins even wider. Good instincts. Anko crawls onto the bed like a lioness in heat and begins to slowly strip Naruto. Unsure of what to do, Naruto just enjoys the fun until he sees a chance to return the favor. Remembering his anatomy classes, he begins to target Anko's erogenous zones one by one with chakra-infused touches. By the time he's fully undressed, Anko is already panting and lost to lust. Just as she is beginning to regain her senses, he flips her underneath him and rips open the corset and attacks her, causing her first orgasm of the night. Ha ha ha, if this is your first time, I can't wait till you get some experience. Naruto chuckles. The best is yet to come. He begins to kiss his way down her stomach as he slowly lowers her panties and attacks the nub of her with his tongue and inserts a finger, causing her to once again orgasm. Tastes like dango. Oh, put it in already. Naruto pulls out a condom, but Anko stops him. No, it's my safe day and I did an anti-pregnancy jutsu before you came. I want our first time raw. I want to feel everything. Naruto smiles and puts the condom away as he kisses Anko passionately. I love you, Anko Haim. You are my most precious person, and as long as you are mine, I will always be yours. Anko wipes a tear and puts on the biggest smile of her life. I love you too, Naruto. Now me stupid. Naruto laughs as he slips his 8-inch monster into Anko's wet warm, causing her to moan in pleasure as he hits the entrance to her womb. Be big. So good. Naruto speeds up and begins to massage her left as he sucks and licks her right. As they both lose themselves to the lust, Naruto bites down on Anko's shoulder and Anko has the best orgasm of her life, causing Naruto over the edge as he floods her womb with his seed. Neither notices a certain mark on Anko's shoulder shatter and replaced with a mark resembling a roaring blood-red fox. As soon as they are done, Naruto collapses on top of Anko, panting and content while still inside her. So, haha, did I rock your world? Anko giggles. Let me put it this way. Will you marry me? Naruto laughs. Couple more years in ANBU, then I transfer into regular service. According to the commander at that time, I can access my full inheritance and I go public. Then I will absolutely marry you. Naruto looks deep into Anko's eyes. Honestly, I can't see myself with anybody else. To me you are perfect. You know, when Kurenai used to say stuff about romance, I never got the appeal, but the way you talk makes me feel good. Naruto smirks. Romantic, huh? I was going for corny, but I'll take it. Anko giggles and they continue making love for hours before sleeping the rest of the night. End of goodness. Next morning, Anko wakes to find herself alone in bed. About to panic, she finds a note on her bedside table and reads it. Anko Haim. Gone to spend the morning training. Will meet you for lunch if you are available. Would have woken you, but you seemed so happy I couldn't bring myself to disturb you. Last night was the best night of my life so far. I can only hope we can spend the rest of our lives feeling like this. Without you my life is darkness as you are my light. Yours forever, Naruto. Anko hugs the note to her chest as the sheds a tear in happiness. As she is performing her morning rituals, she notices something off on her shoulder where that damn snake put his mark and turns to look at it. What? It's gone. Oh, Kami, it's gone. Oh, thank you, Naruto. Gasp, I need to show Kurenai and the girls. Anko rushes to get dressed and runs out the door to go find her friends for some breakfast. An hour later, all the girls gather at their favorite breakfast place at Anko's request to find Anko practically bouncing in joy. An odd sight to be certain. Kurenai and Yugao sweat drop while Hana giggles and asks, "So, how was he?" Anko giggles. "Beyond amazing. But that's not what I asked you guys here for. Something amazing has happened. My curse mark changed." Anko shows them her mark and they gasp in shock. How? You were told there was no known way to remove it. Anko grins and nods. No idea, but it's gone. I can feel it. That snake no longer has a hold on me. Better yet, I woke up alone this morning and was about to panic until I found this. Here, read. The girls read the note and collectively squeal at the romance. Ah. Kurenai smirks. Anko, if you don't marry him, can I? Anko giggle and shakes her head. No chance, Nai, I already made plans. Couple more years in ANBU and he can transfer and claim his inheritance. Then we can marry. I don't mind sharing, but he's my husband. More squealing and girly sounds. Little did any of the girls know our red-headed ANBU is nearby entering Higarashi's shop. He would have gone somewhere else, but he wasn't sure of any jewelry shops which might sell what he is looking for. As he is looking around the store, a teenage girl calls out to him. Welcome to Higarashi's. How may I help you? When he turns to her, she pales and gasps. Ah, Tenten. Yes, I was wondering if you could take a look at something and give me your opinion. Tenten shakes her head and nods. Sure, what is it you need? Naruto brings out a kunai made of an unusual metal he picked up some time ago on a mission. I was wondering if you make custom jewelry and if you could make me a ring out of this kunai. Tenten takes the kunai and practically drools, causing him to sweat drop. Ahem, Tenten. She snaps out of it and almost drops it before recovering. Hee, sorry about that. New weapons are a passion of mine. We do make custom jewelry, though it's not something we do often, and it isn't cheap. You know exactly what you want. Naruto hands her a design of a ring featuring a dragon entwined with a snake with a green diamond in the center with amethyst chips on either side. Beautiful. And it doesn't escape my notice using a weapon of violence to make a symbol of love. Naruto nods and scratches the back of his head. I found out recently I had a talent for romantic gestures. Who knew? So, can you make it? Tenten nods and begins calculations for the price. Should take a few days. Since you provided the metal, we can take that out of the calculations. This will set you back about 6,000 ryo. That okay? Naruto nods and Tenten examines the kunai again. After we're done with this, I will put the leftovers in the reserve stack in case you ever have another order. Be ashamed to waste such good materials. Chakra conductive, and hard as any metal I've seen. Naruto nods and smiles behind the mask. I had the same thought, but feel free to keep it. I managed to pick up a few more of those on that mission, so I got spares. After all, a ninja trains in all their responsibilities, and that requires good materials to work with. You have this shop, for example. Tenten grins at the prospect of using new materials to craft her weapons. Hee, see you at the end of the week. Have fun, Tenten, and train hard. Tenten nods. I won't disappoint. In the shadows behind Tenten stands her father. Ah, he's the one you told me about, huh? I heard about him. Seems like a good man. Shame he seems taken. Tenten nods with a sad smile. Yeah, but I saw the scars and what I was told about him. I feel he has been through pain I can't imagine. It would take somebody truly special to heal him of that. Besides, he scares me a bit. Higurashi nods. Well, let's not keep the man waiting. Later that day, Naruto goes looking for Anko for lunch but is having trouble finding her at her usual places when a pair of feminine hands snakes their way around his waist, causing him to smile. Hello, Anko. I take it you are in a good mood. Better than ever. Remember when I told you that I was Orochimaru's apprentice and before he left, he marked me with his cursed seal? Naruto frowns but nods. Something wonderful has happened. A true miracle. Naruto turns to face her, and when he does, she shows him the seal and gasps. How? You're welcome, kid. Kurama. You did this. Anko tilts her head. The fox. Naruto nods. He says it's a gift for the one who brings happiness where there was none. Hey, all this time and I still know so little about him. He said you will discover its gifts in time, but it will cause no harm to you. Anko grins and lifts the mask a couple inches to kiss him before replacing it. Tell him thanks for me. Naruto nods and holds his arm out. Lunch. Anko takes his arm and they spend the rest of the day together. The rest of the week was much the same for both of them and they couldn't be happier. Now it was finally time to pick up the ring and meet Anko and her friends at his hidden glade. So here he was at Higarashi's once more. Hello again, Tenten. Is my order ready? Oh hi. Yeah, here. I tell ya, this was so much fun to work on. Dad and I think it's one of our best works. Check it out. Tenten shows Naruto the ring and he smiles under his mask. Better than I imagined. Naruto notices a strange seal inside. What's this? Tenten grins. A seal to ensure it always fits perfectly and won't fall off unless she wants to remove it. Naruto smiles as he hands over the money. Thanks, Tenten. It's perfect. Hey, for a project like this, come back anytime. Naruto nods and leaves the shop before flashing to the hidden glade. Did he say why we are here? Anko shrugs. It's his last day off for a while, so I guess it's important. Hana smiles as she senses Naruto coming. Looks like we're about to find out. Naruto flashes into the glade at this moment and walks over to Anko. Kurenai notices his body language seems a little off. Naruto, what's going on? Something wrong. Naruto shakes his head and takes off his mask before answering. I believe you've all been made aware of our plans, so I asked you all here today to make it official. Hana tilts her head in confusion before gasping in realization. You mean? Naruto nods. Yes, Hana, I do. Naruto goes down on his knee and pulls out a red box and hands it to Anko. As she opens it, he asks, Anko Heim, will you marry me? Anko puts on the ring and bursts into tears before she throws herself at Naruto and smashes their lips together. Hana giggles. I think that's a yes. Kurenai nods. Can you imagine the story this will make if it was put onto paper? Yugao smirks. A bestseller that would have every girl in tears. Anko pulls out of this kiss and yells to her friends. Only if the release is after the wedding and we get a percentage of the profits. Everybody laughs. 2 years later, Naruto had grown to a full 6'5" over the past 2 years and had even grown more attractive. He had been training hard and doing as many missions as possible to rid the land of fire of as much corruption as possible before he settles down for his wedding. Oh, he was looking forward to that. If it was possible, his and Anko's love had only grown over their time together. Also, it seemed some of the gifts of the mate mark, as Kurama called it, had begun to awaken. The first made it so that Naruto could always sense Anko's emotions and location. He could also share chakra with her when he could not with others. It also allowed Anko to create a dagger imbued with a portion of Kurama's chakra and power, making it a deadly weapon only she could wield. She called it Corroding Fang. Orochimaru was certainly surprised when she struck his face with it a month ago during the second part of the Chunin exams. He was more surprised to find his mark gone from her, but sadly he escaped. It wouldn't matter, as Naruto would be ready for him when he returns. That is what he was doing right now. He was working on imbuing an element into the Rasengan. It was going surprisingly well. The jutsu was complete, he just needed to work on his control of it. The jutsu was called Rasenkanon. The idea was simple. Rasengan with lightning element fired from the palm as it was formed, allowing it to reach its target before it destabilized and allowed him to rapid fire it. It was destructive if a little draining. But he would not consider it mastered until he could fire it 100 times easily. Either way, it was ready for combat. First target Orochimaru. He would pay for showing his face to his Heim after all he did. So, 1 more month and your stint in ANBU is up. You know, you broke just about every record we had. Naruto smiles as he completely obliterates another steel target. As much as I like it here, life is starting to look up for me in the village. Besides, I can think of only a few people who could beat me in a fight now. I have met all my goals here. Time for me to move on and leave my past where it belongs. Tenzo nods with a smile as he watches his best ANBU's latest masterpiece. Won't say I'll miss the repair bills from your training, but just remember. That brand is permanent. If you need help, ANBU will be there. ANBU is ANBU for life, and ANBU are brothers. Naruto removes his masks and faces his commander with a smile. Thanks, Tenzo. Tenzo smirks. Now grab your gear. The Hokage requested you for his personal guard during the final exam. It starts in a few minutes. Naruto nods and body flickers away. Konoha Stadium. Naruto appears behind his Hokage in the observation booth at the stadium. Ah, good you are here, Red Fox. The Cage looks at the new arrival with interest. So, this is the infamous Red Fox. I must admit I thought you would be a bit more impressive looking. Naruto looks at the man, knowing he is not who he seems. Looks can be deceiving, Lord Cage. The nail that sticks out gets hammered. True. Ah, it seems it is time for my son's match against the last Uchiha. The proctor looks to the Hokage because Sasuke has not yet arrived. Hiruzen is about to disqualify Sasuke when the Cage speaks. If I may, many people came for just this fight. It might reflect badly on the village if you don't allow it to go through. Please, just 5 more minutes. The Hokage considers before turning to Naruto. What do you think? Naruto shakes his head. Disappointing. I myself was hoping to see this fight, but a ninja who is late for the battle gets his team killed. A Chunin is a leader of his squad and must be punctual. Sasuke forfeits these rights. To do otherwise would reflect poorly on the village, and to show favoritism reflects poorly on his sensei and his cage. Hiruzen smiles and nods. I agree, Sasuke forfeits. He gives the signal and the crowd erupts into boos and jeers. The cage is displeased, but he planned for the possibility. It was only delaying a few minutes. 2 disappointing matches later came an interesting match between Shikamaru Nara and the Sand Kunoichi Tamari. What do you think, Red Fox? Naruto observes the match and considers. She's smart. She's worked out the range of his jutsu and is staying outside of it, but the problem is she only has wind jutsu. As powerful as she is against a Nara like him, she will lose. Of course, knowing the Nara and this one in particular, he will likely forfeit as soon as he traps her. The cage looks at him with curiosity. Why do you say that? Shikamaru is known to be particularly lazy even by Nara standards. Besides, based on my observations of this generation, his chakra levels won't last long. By this point he has already come up with dozens of possible winning strategies, and with his mind can adapt at a moment's notice. She will be caught, and he will forfeit. 5 minutes later the match ends exactly as predicted. Seems you called it correctly. I must say I am at a loss as to whether I should be happy my daughter won or disappointed that she only won because her opponent's chakra ran out. Naruto shrugs. Why choose? Be happy she won and correct the mistakes that lead to this outcome later. The fake Kazuke smirks. I like this one, Lord Hokage. He speaks sense. Hiruzen smiles. He's made me proud since he entered ANBU and even before that. Suddenly feathers start to fall from the sky and people start to fall asleep. The cage booth explodes and the cages and bodyguards move to a nearby rooftop as a barrier rises. The cage frowns. You seem calmer than you should be. Naruto shakes his head. The smell of blood and snakes is hard to mask. Besides, you've become predictable, Orochimaru. Kukukuku, you are definitely going to be fun to play with. Orochimaru ditches his mask and begins a jutsu. Summoning. Impure World Resurrection. 3 coffins begin to rise from the ground with the numbers 1, 2 and 4 on them, but the 3rd coffin will not open, angering Orochimaru. Naruto chuckles. You were never one to read all the details on a jutsu, were you? Always in too much of a rush. Orochimaru glares at the ANBU who is laughing at him, and the 2 resurrected Hokage are curious. What do you mean? Where is the 4th Hokage? Summoning. Impure World Resurrection. A jutsu which returns the souls of the dead from the impure world at the cost of a life of a vessel. The jutsu was never perfected and has many issues. First is that the power of the resurrected soul is limited to that of the vessel. Second is that it can only resurrect a soul from the impure world. Since the 4th Hokage used the Shiki Fujin, his soul is not in the impure world but in the belly of the Shinigami. The 2nd Hokage smiles. Quite a bright ANBU. You must be proud, little monkey. Hiruzen chuckles. I am. Though I am sad we are reunited under these circumstances, Lord 2nd. The 1st Hokage grins. Tell me, young man, do you have a plan to end this infernal jutsu? Naruto nods and draws his sword. Recognize it, Lord 1st. Ha 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 ha, wonderful, then end this and show us what you can do. Naruto nods. Ready, old man. Hiruzen nods and summons Enma in his adamantine staff form. Today I fix my mistakes. Naruto growls. Just survive your mistakes and I'll be happy. Naruto summons 2 shadow clones and they all begin forming hand signs. Just the same as the 2 Hokages are also going through hand signs. Wood style. Great forest emergence. Water style. Bursting water wave. Fire style. Great flame dragon bullets. Wind style. Great breakthrough. Lightning style. Electromagnetic murder. Naruto's clones jutsus and Hiruzen's merge into a massive electrified fireball which cancels out their opponent's jutsus. At this point the real Naruto flashes in front of the first two Hokages and cuts them both in half. The second Hokage is confused. Why are we not reforming like we should? The first Hokage is laughing his off at Orochimaru. Brother, don't you recognize that sword? It's Mito's sealing sword. Your jutsu is based off of a seal and so the sealing sword can cancel its effects. We won't die but we won't regenerate until we are sealed and cut up like this, we are completely useless. Well done my boy. Thank you Lord First. Now old man I got a jutsu I want to try on Orochimaru but I need a minute to recover some chakra for maximum effect. Can you keep him from escaping until I am ready? Hiruzen smirks. Just say the word my boy. I might be getting old but if you only need a minute, I should have no trouble. Naruto nods and assumes a lotus position to gather his chakra while Hiruzen is fighting an angry Orochimaru and the ANBU outside the barrier are in awe of the fight so far. The second Hokage is curious. Tell me, what is this jutsu that requires so much chakra? The fourth Hokage is famous for creating two jutsu which allowed him to kill 1000 Iwa ninja in seconds. The first is based off a one of your unfinished jutsu called Hiraishin. However, what is not known is the other jutsu was never finished. He intended it to have an element. But he died before he could finish it. The Rasengan is pure chakra shape manipulation and an A-rank jutsu on its own but imagine adding fire to that. Or wind. Or in this case lightning. The first Hokage grins. Madara would have loved such a jutsu. Shape manipulation along with elemental manipulation at one time. That's almost a bloodline. It's beyond most ninja below cage level. This I can't wait to see. Naruto smirks behind the mask and stands. Orochimaru. You have made many mistakes but your biggest. You tried to hurt my Anko Heim. Now die. Lightning style. Rasenkanon. Naruto rapid fires many electrified spheres at Orochimaru and once the first hits he suffers paralysis as the lightning courses and allows more and more to hit him breaking down his body at a cellular level. Think the magic used to kill Morgana in The Sorcerer's Apprentice, by the time the jutsu ends only a finger and the grass cutter sword is left and Orochimaru cannot use his jutsu to regurgitate a new body. He is dead and the sound four holding the barrier flee. The first and second Hokages whistle in appreciation. Impressive. Easily S rank if I am any judge. The second Hokage nods. Double S if he can get the fire rate faster and up the amount of times he can use it. Naruto chuckles. Only sorry dad couldn't see it finally complete. An ANBU approaches. Lord First. Lord Second. The sealing core will be here momentarily to seal you away and end the jutsu holding your souls here. We apologize for disturbing your rest. They would be here already, but they had to deal with the Sans Jinchuriki first. The first Hokage chuckles. It's no problem. I'm just glad the leaf is so well protected. The second Hokage smiles and nods as they both start to fade away, shocking the ANBU present. What's happening? Did the jutsu end on its own? Naruto nods. One of the other weakness of the jutsu. If the soul held in this plane finds resolution to a large enough weight on its conscience, then the jutsu will fail to bind the soul to the body and the jutsu is broken. As the second fades he smirks. A bright star in the darkness to light the way to prosperity. Live well boy, I want to hear all about your life when you join us in the afterlife. Naruto nods as the Hokage finish fading. Hiruzen sits beside Naruto as he creates some shadow clones to go out and help mop up the enemies in the village. That jutsu could have wiped out every atom of his being from this world. Why leave a finger? Naruto shrugs. Can't claim a bounty without proof, and with what Anko said of his regeneration jutsu I didn't want to risk less than that. Hiruzen nods as he lights his pipe. What do you want to do with the sword? By right it is yours. Naruto smirks. Mess with the council. Hiruzen raises an eyebrow. How so? He doubles over laughing. No doubt by now word has reached them of these events and they will want to give it to the little Uchiha. Garner more favor from him. Hold the carrot and hit them with the stick when they try to bite. Hiruzen chuckles. You intend to see what they do and then when they try to claim it for the Uchiha you will take their candy and make them cry. Minato would be rolling on the ground laughing. No doubt you are Kushina's son. He to add insult to injury I intend to give it to Anko. Honestly, she has as much claim as I do. Inheritance by combat or by succession. Either way it will piss them off to no end and make it all the sweeter when I come out of the shadows and they realize just who they've been with. Next day, the sword should go to Sasuke. So should the bounty for Orochimaru's death. He will need money when he begins to rebuild his clan. The entire civilian council is salivating at all the money and power they can get from this nameless ANBU as the shinobi side is scowling and Sum is actually growling. I am sorry councilman, but the Uchiha has no claim to either the sword or the bounty. What do you mean? Both belong to Konoha surely. As such they can be given to Sasuke by our choice. Naruto shakes his head. I am afraid you misunderstand councilman. The village also has no claim to the sword or the bounty. Bounties on criminals are handed out to the person who is credited to the kill as long as proof is given of the demise of said criminal. Besides the fact I am credited with the kill, the DNA may not be enough proof to even claim the bounty. Besides that, spoils of battle are likewise appropriated. I own the sword, or in the event I don't want it then Anko Mitarashi may claim it by right of succession. The shinobi council is smirking and chuckling at the smart moves of this ANBU they have heard so much about. That snake whore does not deserve such a treasure. Naruto directs a focused blast of killing intent at the foolish councilman and growls in a low voice causing even Sum into silence. Councilman, I have tried to remain respectful to you even though I have no respect for you. I would appreciate it if you didn't call my fiancé that anymore. The entire council is shocked. I am sorry, did you just call one of the ice queens of Konoha your fiancé? Naruto nods. Lord Hokage, I planned for this to happen next month but permission to transfer to regular forces at the rank of Junin effective immediately. The council is completely focused on the ANBU standing before them. Hiruzen smirks at the thought of what is about to happen. Granted. Red Fox, you are free to step out of the shadows and bask in the light once more. Remove your mask and reveal yourself. Naruto takes off his mask and pulls down the face mask underneath and looks around the council. The shinobi council is shocked at his identity. Many having known his parents they could never forget his face, but the civilian council is just confused. I see you don't remember me. Well, it has been nearly 8 years since you tried to kill me last. The civilian council is in an uproar until Danzo silences them. What do you mean? Naruto smirks. Maybe this will jog your memory. Naruto takes off his sword and his armor. He then takes off his shirt and steps forward, shocking every member of the council at the gruesome scars on his stomach and chest. Dawning and fear alight in the council's eyes along with shame and sadness in the shinobi side. Naruto does not miss this. I see you remember me now. Yes, my name is Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Cries of demon and liar come from all but a single civilian council member. How dare you claim kinship with the fourth Hokage demon? Naruto forms a Rasengan and plunges it into the chest of the councilman who just spoke. Lord Hokage, please call the ANBU to arrest this beast. The Hokage frowns at the council. I see no beast. I see a loyal ninja who just punished a criminal for violating the law. In fact, he is well within his rights to kill all of you. However, since you wish me to call the ANBU, I will. ANBU take the remainder of the civilian council to Ibiki and Anko, and when they've had their fun throw them in cells for the rest of their lives. The ANBU flood the room intending to do just that until Naruto speaks. Wait, Mebuki Haruno did not break the law. She remains innocent. The ANBU nod to their brother and leaves her alone. Mebuki nods her thanks before speaking. Before we continue, may I make a request? Naruto nods. My daughter Sakura. You gave her some advice, but she has been at a loss as to how to improve, and she is quite depressed at her lack of skills and fears she may lead her team to death. Can you help her? Naruto closes his eyes in thought. I don't know her capabilities, but I will find her sometime and see what I can do. I make no promises though. I am glad she took my words to heart. Mebuki nods. Inoichi smiles. Would you please extend the same courtesy to my daughter Ino? She is in the same dilemma. Naruto nods. Hiyashi gives a rare smile. It seems I have you to thank for my daughter Hinata's growth over the past year. She is still too kind and timid, but she has made much progress in judging when to close off those emotions as a ninja should. This has bought me a few years to find a suitor for one of my daughters, so I don't have to condemn either to the branch house. Naruto nods. I am glad. I saw potential in her, but as you say, she has problems with judgment. Sume grins knowing what her daughter told her of Naruto. Do you intend to enact the CRA? My daughter would be very interested, I am sure. Naruto smiles and shakes his head. If Hana is interested, then speak to Anko. I will leave the decision up to her. As much as I care for Hana, Anko is enough for me, and I am not greedy. Mebuki frowns, thinking back on the meeting. What did you mean about the DNA possibly not being enough to claim the bounty? Naruto chuckles. I was wondering if somebody would ask. Orochimaru was obsessed with jutsu and immortality. As such, he performed numerous experiments on himself. There is no way of knowing if the DNA in the finger will match 100% with what we have on file. If Lady Tsunade were here, I would say the chances would be better, but that's a little difficult. Hiruzen chuckles. I would actually like to speak to you about that, Naruto. I would like you to journey with Jiraiya to find her and bring her back to the leaf. I am getting old and I need to pass on the hat. She is the best candidate by far. Naruto nods. I will leave in a few days. It would be nice to have my godmother at my wedding. I am certain she will be surprised to see me alive if I am correct. Shuza raises an eyebrow. What do you mean? Naruto looks him in the eye. Jiraiya has always been rather irresponsible, and with his duties as spymaster I can understand his absence from my life, even though the extent is unforgivable. Tsunade, however, was a good friend of my mother and was always the responsible one. No doubt she was on her way back to Konoha to meet me when she received news of the deaths of the fourth and my mother. Either she assumed that I was dead with them, or more likely she was led to believe such so that she would not interfere with my upbringing. Shikaku nods. That would make sense. Either so that the civilian council could kill you easier, or so that somebody else could manipulate you easier. However, those plans were derailed when you went into ANBU. Naruto nods. If there is nothing else, Lord Hokage. Hiruzen nods. Naruto heads out, but before he leaves, he pauses and calls back. Inoichi. Mebuki. I will spend a few hours at Training Ground 43 tomorrow. If your daughters wish my help, they can find me there in the morning. So, you know I rise early, and I am not patient. They nod and Naruto leaves the room. The elders frown. Hiruzen, are you certain it is wise to trust him? After what this village did to him, why would he stay? Hiruzen smiles. You mean besides marrying the woman he loves? He once told me his father's last wish was for him to be a hero, but the village saw him as a demon. If I cannot be a hero in the light, then let me step into shadows. If I cannot be a hero, let me help this village as a demon. Within the shadows I will serve the light. Maybe then I will fulfill my father's last wish. Danzo nods. Admirable. And I can tell he has fulfilled that wish. I would prefer him as a weapon, but I cannot deny his loyalty. After all, as an ANBU he has had plenty of opportunity to leave and cover his tracks. Why step into the light only to leave it all behind? Hiruzen nods. Besides, if he did desire to leave, who could stop him? He defeated a resurrected first and second Hokage and then Orochimaru not 2 minutes after. I doubt I could perform such a feat without sacrificing my life, and he will only grow stronger. Meanwhile at the stadium, sorry are we late? Kakashi and Sasuke have just arrived for his match only to find the stadium in ruins and the battle over. Sasuke is fuming and leaves Kakashi to head out for answers. Nearby, Naruto finds Anko helping with the cleanup. Hello, Haim. I bring gifts. Anko looks at Naruto then trips in shock. You're not wearing your mask. Naruto shakes his head with a smile. Naruto tells her about Orochimaru, the council and his transfer. He then pulls out grass cutter and hands it to her. I am happy with my sword, so by right of succession it belongs to you. Anko smiles as she takes the sword then looks at Naruto. I have my corrosive fox fang. Maybe Yugao will get more use out of this. Naruto nods. Up to you. I have to leave in a few days to go find Tsunade and convince her to return to the leaf, and I will be busy tomorrow morning, but other than that I have nothing but time until I go. Time for you. Well, unless you want to play with your new pets in T&I. Anko grins. Let em wait and sweat a few days. I got some fun to have with my boy toy. Anko kisses Naruto and they are enjoying the moment until an angry Sasuke walks up and demands answers. What happened here? What about the exams? Naruto breaks the kiss and glares at Sasuke. I'll ignore the fact you just demanded answers from your superior. To answer your question in order. You were disqualified for being late to your match not once but twice. The Sound and Sand villages enacted an attempted invasion which was repelled. The exams are cancelled with only a few of the matches having taken place. I doubt more than one person will make Chunin this time, and it won't be you. At this point Sasuke is about to blow his top and attack Naruto until Kakashi appears behind him and grabs him. Sorry Naruto. I'll keep a closer eye on him. Naruto nods. He's headed down a dark path, Kakashi. I pray you can pound him back into the light before he does something stupid. Kakashi nods before taking Sasuke with him in a body flicker. You saw the look in his eye. Naruto nods. Itachi really his mind. Not to mention we have no idea what kind of effect the mark will have on him now that Orochimaru is dead. It's not a matter of if anymore but when he does something stupid. Anko nods. Naruto makes a small army of clones to help with the cleaning up and rebuilding while he and Anko spend the rest of the day relaxing and enjoying the company. With Kakashi. Kakashi was looking at Sasuke with disgust. Do you have a death wish? Sasuke simply crosses his arms like a petulant child and broods. You don't even know who it was you were about to attack, do you? I'm an Uchiha, I could have won. Fool. Uchiha or not, you are not even close to a match for an ANBU captain. He may only be 2 years older than you, but he's been trained by myself and Itachi. He could obliterate you in 2 seconds flat and not even leave a trace of your DNA on the face of this planet. I can't even beat him as he is now. Plus, he's a Junin. Not all of us are as lenient to insubordination as I am. Rank means nothing as far as how powerful you are, but command does. And he has a higher rank than you do. Next time you would be lucky if he just sends you to T&I. Sasuke snarls. The council would never allow that. The council has no authority over it. Besides, almost the whole civilian council was arrested today for breaking a rather dangerous law. Sasuke looks curious at this. Even Sakura's mother. Kakashi shakes his head. No, thankfully for her, Naruto vouched for her innocence. She won't help you any longer though if you get in trouble. Sasuke, you must understand you are no longer untouchable. You are going to have to act less like an Uchiha and more like a true shinobi. The Uchiha were great ninja, but they were far too arrogant, and it made them enemies. You need friends if you want the power to kill Itachi. You can't afford to be making enemies. Sasuke just walks off. Whatever. Kakashi looks after Sasuke's retreating form with shame. Dawn of the next day. Oh good. You both are punctual. Glad to know your sensei are not passing on their bad habits. Naruto looks at the 2 girls who are walking to him. They are confused. Your parents didn't tell you who I am or what this is about, did they? Sakura and Ino shake their heads. And I take it my voice isn't familiar at all. Ino squints in thought before going bug-eyed. Red Fox. Naruto grins his foxy smile. Bingo. As expected of a Yamanaka to have a faster memory. Though I understand Sakura had the higher scores in the academy. Sakura frowns. Aren't ANBU forbidden to allow others to know their identities? Naruto nods. Yes. Besides squad mates within ANBU, the Hokage are those authorized by the Hokage that is the case. For me until yesterday only Lord 3rd, Kakashi, Itachi Uchiha, the ANBU commander, Anko Mitarashi, Kurenai Uehi, Yugo Azuki and Hana Inuzuka knew my identity. Up until a couple years ago you could have counted those last 3 out. Actually, they only knew the same day you all met me. Ino tilts her head. And the reason why we now know. Naruto smiles. It came time for me to step out of the shadows. I have transferred from ANBU duty to regular. I'm a Junin now just like Kakashi. Naruto looks at Sakura. In case you were wondering why I know him so well, it's because he saved my life the night I got those scars, and then when I went into ANBU he and Itachi were my sensei. Sakura frowns. Not much of a sensei. Aside from Sasuke he doesn't teach us anything. Naruto nods. I was afraid of that. You can blame the civilian council for that unfortunately. He was ordered to focus on the Uchiha. Especially once he activated his Sharingan. Naruto shrugs. Well, the Hokage approved it for a number of reasons which may or may not come out later, but we can hope Sasuke's attitude improves. Thankfully the entire civilian council minus your mother were arrested yesterday for breaking an S-rank law. Normally that's punishable by death, but being on the council has some perks, I guess. Either way they're gone. Sakura frowns again. What law? And what's an S-rank law? Ino frowns because she knows the answer to that. An S-rank law is put in place when an S-rank secret is known to more than a few people. It's meant to keep that secret from spreading too far. Speak of the secret or allude too closely to it and it's death. Naruto nods and claps. Full marks for the clan heir. The law in question regards me directly, so I am the exception to it. Since I am comfortable with my situation now, I have no problem sharing said secret with you. Naturally your parents already know, so speaking to them about it is not a violation if you are careful. However, nobody else until the law is repealed. Am I understood? Ino and Sakura nod, both with faces full of curiosity. Good. Tell me, what do you know of the word Jinchuriki? Sakura, being the brainiac, answers. Means power of the human sacrifice. Naruto nods. That is the literal translation, yes. But do either of you know what the term means when applied to a ninja village? Ino and Sakura shake their heads. Naruto frowns. What do you know about Fuinjutsu? Ino frowns. I know it's a near lost art and really hard to learn. Most don't learn any before reaching Chunin, and then it's usually not much more than being able to make and use storage scrolls. Naruto facepalms. You know, I was hoping without me attending the civilian council wouldn't bring down the academy standards to the point where essential skills were cut. Just another thing I need to speak to the Hokage about. Naruto goes through the next 30 minutes explaining what a Jinchuriki is, how it's made and how they are treated in general by their own villages. The last explanation horrifies both girls, causing Sakura to toss her breakfast. Ino, still pale but suspecting something in all this, asks, "Why are you telling us this?" Naruto smiles sadly. "Can you think of no reason?" Ino looks at him, then down to his stomach before whispering, "That's the reason for those scars, isn't it? The villagers did that to you because of what you hold." "Ah, well done. That's right, Ino, I am a Jinchuriki. I wonder if you can figure out which one I hold." Sakura recovers. "It has to be the 9 tails. It's the only one the leaf has a history with." Naruto grins. "Half points there, but yes, I hold the 9 tails. He prefers Kurama though." Ino raises an eyebrow. "I shouldn't be surprised they have names. But I am." "What did you mean by half marks though?" Naruto nods. "Well, for starters, the one-tailed raccoon dog named Shukaku was the beast which attacked during the invasion. His Jinchuriki is Gaara of the Sand. Also, the first Hokage with his Mokuden captured and divided up all the tailed beasts among the major villages long ago to maintain a balance of power among us. So Konoha does in fact have history with all 9 beasts." Sakura frowns. "That wasn't taught in the academy." Naruto nods. Much history is almost lost because of the reforms the civilian council made to the academy to help along their children. Would it surprise you to know both of you would have been competing for the position of dead last in the academy 30 years ago? Wait, what? Naruto nods. Not only has the curriculum taken a downturn but also the physical requirements to pass the Genin test. You would have both done well in the academic and jutsu portions as you did in the academy, but you would have both failed the physical. That is why I am here. It seems you took my advice to heart but did not know how to use it. A mistake on my part, it seems. I should have taken social standing and personality into account when I gave it. Today I am going to run you both through some tests to find out exactly what you are capable of and how to improve your training. Let's start with diet. Last night I spent some time looking into both of you and found something disturbing. You are both starving yourselves. Ino shrugs. Well, yeah, we don't want to get fat. Naruto shakes his head. Ino, you are missing 2 points in your calculations. Metabolism and exertion. The more you train, the better your metabolism and the more fat you will burn. However, if you don't eat enough or eat right, your body burns only the muscle you put on from your training, making everything useless. Take me for example. I love ramen. However, if I ate nothing but ramen in your mind, I would probably get fat, but no, I would be 4 foot nothing and malnourished because I train myself to exhaustion and ramen provides very little nutritional content. After we are done here today, I want you both to go to the Akamichi and ask for dietary advice. Make no mistake, nobody knows how to build a perfect diet better than an Akamichi. Remember what I said about not judging by what you see. Akamichi are rotund because they must be for their clan jutsu. They burn a lot of fat a lot faster than we do when they use them, so they need excess. Sakura and Ino nod. Now, since I saw the record of your fight in the Chunin exams, I don't need to focus on that right now. We are going to focus on your chakra reserves and control. Also, your specialties. Ino her head. Specialties. Naruto nods. Take Kakashi for example. He specializes in ninjutsu. Maeda Gai in taijutsu. Kurenai in genjutsu. Tsunade in medical jutsu. There are also sub-specialties, such as long range, mid-range or short range. However, one thing they all have in common is they all have an ace. Kakashi has exceptional taijutsu and his Sharingan. Gai has the 8 gates. Kurenai double layers her genjutsu, making them harder to break, and also has some training in kenjutsu. Tsunade is known to be able to break a mountain with her fist. You two have no ace. Nothing to pull out to surprise your enemy when he backs you into a corner. That's another thing we will work on. Ino smiles. That's what you meant when you said Tenten should learn some elemental ninjutsu. Naruto nods and smiles. As you saw in the prelims, she lost to Temari because long and mid-range wind-style ninjutsu can counter most weapons. If she had a couple fire-style jutsu or long-ranged earth-style, Temari would have had a much harder time. Ino and Sakura nod and start to develop ideas. Now, before we can improve anything, I need to assess you. Let's start with tree climbing. You both have learned it. 2 nods. And how many times do you think you could walk slowly up and down an average land of fire tree? Ino smiles proudly. 15. Sakura grins. 20. 22 if I want to exhaust myself. Naruto frowns. I am guessing you haven't done any training on that since you learned it. The two shake their heads. As I thought. Your sensei are dropping the ball. After you learned it, the next step is to master it. You need to be able to do it 100 times without tiring in the least and without even thinking. This will build your reserves and your control at the same time. Work on that. When you master it, then ask your sensei to start you on water walking. Look up information on chakra control and other related subjects in the shinobi section at the library or ask an available junin. That's something often overlooked. It's frowned upon to take on another junin student, but when asked for help, it's encouraged to give it. Ino and Sakura are really paying attention. Next is accuracy. Naruto stands and pulls out 5 kunai and 5 shuriken targeting 5 trees he carved targets on earlier. He tosses the kunai off course before he hits them with shuriken and all 10 hit their targets. Ino and Sakura are visibly impressed. If you think that's impressive, then you are going to be disappointed. Itachi could do that at age 5 before he unlocked his Sharingan. That's standard in ANBU. I don't expect this of you, but I do want to see exactly how many targets you can hit as fast as you can. Now go. Sakura and Ino took their time and both hit 5 targets in under a minute. Naruto nodded. Could be worse. I expected worse. You both improved a little since the academy. I want you to spend an hour each day practicing. Practice not till you get it right but until you never get it wrong. Understand? Sakura and Ino smile and nod. Now I want you both to list every jutsu you know to this point. Ino first. Mind transfer jutsu, and the Academy 3. Just the Academy 3 for me and a low-level genjutsu I picked up. Naruto nods. Ino, I want you to learn more of your clan's jutsu. After you master your chakra control exercises, come find me and I will start you on elemental jutsu and maybe find you a teacher for a specialty. Sakura, I want you to seek out Kurenai and see how far you can go with genjutsu. Also keep refining your control and boosting your reserves. Try to be inventive in both areas. Ino and Sakura nod. Good. Now I am going to go get lunch for all of us. While I am gone, I want you both to run around this field as many times as you can as fast as you can. If you must stop, do so, but once you recover, continue and keep count of your laps. Hi. Naruto smiles and leaves to his apartment to cook up their lunch. He decides on a simple healthy bento to help them build some muscle. When he comes back an hour later, both Sakura and Ino are on the ground panting. Smiling, he walks over to them and hands them their lunch. The both eat rather happily, noting how good it tastes. I'm glad to see you both taking this so seriously. You're doing well. How many laps did you do? Ino swallows. 25. Sakura frowns. 22. Naruto nods. Better than I expected, but not quite up to standard for your rank. Don't feel too bad, Sakura. Ino comes from a clan. Not a physically orientated one, but it helps. The fact you are both so close is a result of effort. I want you both to do this twice a day, 5 times a week until you master your chakra control exercises, then tell me how many laps a day you can do. This will work on your stamina and speed. After that I will modify your regimen, but do this first. 2 nods. If you push yourselves and focus on your training and new diets, I expect you will start seeing results within a few weeks. Within 3 months I expect you will be close to or already coming back to me for advice. But don't push yourselves too hard. A day of rest can mean the difference between an optimum training regimen and a pulled muscle or a week-long stint in hospital for chakra exhaustion. Ino and Sakura smile and nod. Thanks. Naruto nods and smiles. In a few days I leave the village on a mission. I will be gone for a while. When I return, I will check in on you every now and then. Naruto gets up to leave but stops to turn back. Oh, one more thing. Don't be afraid to ask other Junin or other team sensei for advice. You might find some interesting information if you do. Hi. Naruto waves over his shoulder as he leaves. One day outside ANBU and you're already fixing half the problems in this rotten village. Maybe you should be Hokage. Naruto chuckles and smiles. Thanks, but no thanks, Kurama. I have no need to be Hokage just to fix the problems here. Nor do I want the responsibility or the obligation that comes with it. Kurama chuckles. So, teacher, soldier, killer but not politician. I agree, you can do the worst things and still be less evil than a politician. 3 days later, Naruto is walking by the hot springs and finds a man in an unusual outfit with white spiky hair tied back in a ponytail, giggling like a pervert with his face against the fence of the women's side of the hot springs. Naturally, Naruto is ticked off. Naruto taps him on the shoulder. Bug off, brat, I'm in the middle of my research. Naruto moves to hit him over the head when the man moves, and Naruto feels a spike in chakra above him. Rolling his eyes, Naruto unsheathes his sealing blade and swipes the giant toad above him, sending him back to the summons realm before tapping the sword on the old man's shoulder, gaining his attention and a bead of sweat. That would work on most people, Jiraiya, but not me. Now get up before I cut off something you would rather not lose. Jiraiya does as asked but frowns. Geez, what did I do to piss you off, kid? Naruto looks him in the eyes. Ever heard of the Ice Queens of Konoha? Jiraiya nods. You know what they do to perverts. Jiraiya pales and nods. They are some of my best friends and one of them is my fiancé. She's currently on the other side of that wall. Naruto points at the wall he just found Jiraiya at and he pales, thinking this kid might be seriously thinking of doing bodily harm. Hey, sorry kid. I didn't know. Naruto scowls and looks Jiraiya in the eye. If you weren't slated for a mission with me, I would call her out to deal with you. Trust me, Anko is very talented at dealing with your kind. Now shut your mouth, grab your stuff and follow me to the Hokage Tower. Naruto sheaths his sword and turns on his heel, walking away. Who the is this kid? I didn't sense him coming. He dealt with my toad like it was nothing, then he orders me about like he's used to command. And he said my name like he knows me. I've never met him before though. These are Jiraiya's thoughts as they head to the tower and until he walks into the Hokage's office. Found him, Lord Third. Just where you said he would be, and peeking on Anko at the hot springs. Hiruzen pales at the thought. Jiraiya, you have no idea what Naruto just saved you from. Jiraiya frowns at the name, then at the thought. I know the Ice Queens are nasty to perverts, but surely Anko isn't as bad as Tsunade. Hiruzen shakes his head. A few years ago, I would have paled at the thought, but since getting together with Naruto she's become much more vicious as she takes it personally. She won't kill you, no, not even close. She will torture you to the point you will wish you are dead, then have Inoichi wipe out the memories of what she did but leave the memory of pain, then do it again. He does it too because the last time he refused, his wife threatened to ingrain an image of a guy and Lee into his mind performing their sunset genjutsu. Naruto, being prepared, pulls out a bucket so that Jiraiya can empty his guts. He was about to recover before Naruto opens his mouth. And that's if she's in a good mood. Jiraiya fills the bucket and is lying on the ground in a fetal for a full 5 minutes before he can stand. I feel sorry for you, kid. Naruto sneers at the man. You have much to be sorry for, Jiraiya, but that's not something on the list. Naruto stands up and turns to leave. Find me at the gate when the old man has briefed you on our mission. Naruto leaves and Hiruzen shakes his head. Old man, who is that kid? The way he speaks and acts is like a veteran shinobi, but he's only a kid. Hiruzen scowls. You truly don't know. Don't recognize your own godson, huh? Well, considering you never even visited him, I shouldn't be surprised. But the fact you don't know means you have not been doing your job as spy master well. The old man. I heard he died and that was the last I heard. Then you should have come to me to confirm the information instead of abandoning your charge. Hiruzen is shaking with anger. Let me tell you something, my old student. I have seen him do many things, but I have rarely seen him show anger. And never to the extent he did with you. If he was not so keen on the idea of having his godmother at this wedding, I doubt he would have ever spoken to you. You left it too long and now he has nothing to gain from you. If you are lucky, he will just ignore you completely. That still doesn't explain the way he is. Hiruzen rubs the bridge of his nose and explains what happened and the events to this day. Jiraiya frowns. ANBU, huh? Well, that explains the skills and the air of command. Minato would be proud. And you said he killed Orochimaru? Hiruzen nods. How? He completed the Rasengan. The first and second Hokage labeled it as S rank and possibly double S rank. Jiraiya pales at the thought. Now your mission is to convince Tsunade to return to the leaf. Preferably to become Hokage, but if she returns and stays, I will consider it a victory at this point. Jiraiya nods. Thanks to the positive reviews, guys. Sorry I haven't updated in a while. I have been a little under the weather and work has been a little screwy. Bad news first. I just lost my job, so work on fix that are not on stage 3 as will be explained in my profile are going to be updated a little less often until I can fix that. Good news is YAAAAY triple update. That's right, you get a new chapter for all 3 of my currently unfinished fix. Enjoy and review. I do not own Naruto. 3 weeks later outside Tanzaku town. Jiraiya, if you don't stop your peeping until we find Tsunade, I will shove a Rasengan up your. You are slowing us down. Jiraiya sweats and holds up his hands in defense. Okay, I'll put my research on hold. Rubbing the back of his head in embarrassment. It hasn't been going that well anyway. Jiraiya looks at Naruto with curiosity. I've been wondering, why aren't we actually going into towns? Naruto shrugs. I met Itachi a few days ago and he warned me the Akatsuki is looking for us. He's trying to lead Kisame away, but they are visiting towns in the area, so I need to be careful. So, I'm using shadow clones to search and to ask around. We came to Tanzaku because Tsunade was seen heading in this direction just a few days ago. It also fits her profile. Jiraiya nods. I keep forgetting you were an ANBU and you knew Itachi. Didn't realize you knew of Akatsuki though. Naruto shrugs. Besides the fact Itachi has been keeping me informed, I make it my business to know the people who want me dead. Jiraiya raises an eyebrow. Dead. Last I heard they were gathering funds as a merc group. Naruto frowns back at Jiraiya. Did you never question why? Their objective is the tailed beasts. Why I don't know, but if they capture me, they will take Kurama and that will likely leave me dead. I'm only half Uzumaki after all. Naruto flinches. There you are. Come on. She's getting drunk at a nearby bar. Naruto and Jiraiya walk into the bar in question to find a tall blonde woman with e-cup sloshed at a table and a shorter lither brunette holding a pig standing by her looking nervous. Tsunade. Nice to see you. Tsunade looks up and scowls. Jiraiya. What are you doing here? Jiraiya and Naruto sit down across from Tsunade. What, can't I visit my old teammate? If you were doing that, then you would never have found me. The fact you did means you were looking hard. Why? And who's the brat? Naruto frowns. You really don't recognize me. Tsunade squints. Should I brat? Naruto nods. Think back 18 years. You are on your way back to the leaf to deliver a baby. On the way you hear some bad news. The mother and father are dead. Killed by the 9 tails. Now either you assumed or were told the baby died with them. Either way you decide not to go back. But the baby survived. Now you tell me, who am I? Tsunade's eyes go wide. Look at my face, Tsunade. Whoami? No, it can't be. You died. They said you were dead. You're not him. Naruto glares at Tsunade. My name's Tsunade. Say it. Tsunade breaks down in tears. Naruto, how are you here? Naruto calms down and smiles. Finally, some progress. Naruto explains the events of his life from birth to now in excruciating detail, causing Tsunade to cry and her assistant Shizune to rush to the bathroom to empty her guts. The end result is the 3rd Hokage sending me here to bring you home. There are a number of reasons and none are urgent just yet. But it is important for you to return. What reasons? Naruto shrugs. The old man wants you to become Hokage. Like I said, it's not urgent, but convincing you can come later. Most of all, we need your medical expertise. Personally, I also want my godmother to attend my wedding. Tsunade bug-eyes. Wedding. BU, but you're only 18. Naruto shakes his head. I grew up on my own until 10 dodging villagers to save my life. I have always been more mature than others my age. After that I was in ANBU. 2 years ago, I made captain. I've known my fiancé for 3 years, so it's not a matter of being rushed or ready for the responsibility. And the medical reasons? Naruto nods to Shizune and explains about Orochimaru and the injured genin in the exams and invasion. I see. Tell you what, brat. You and me outside. I want a shot at you. I like what I see, then I come back. I don't, then I come to your wedding, then leave forever. Naruto smiles. Sounds fair. Tsunade, Shizune and Jiraiya follow Naruto outside. Lord Jiraiya is this wise? Jiraiya frowns. No idea. The Hokage told me of his history and you've heard it too. I've never seen him fight, but this is the only way regardless. Besides, Tsunade only said she has to like what she sees. She didn't say anything about winning. Tsunade smirks and Naruto frowns. Terms Lady Tsunade. Use whatever you like, but it's over if I knock you on your. I'll only use one finger. Naruto's face goes blank, but his eyes take on an ominous light. He did not like her underestimating him. He replies in a dark tone, causing Jiraiya to shiver. As you wish. Shizune notices Jiraiya's face go pale and that he is shivering. Is something wrong, Lord Jiraiya? I hope not. But I think Tsunade just made a huge mistake. Shizune frowns and looks Naruto in the eyes and she feels very small. Suddenly Naruto forms two clones and they start going through hand signs. Earth style. Earthen corridor. Fire style. Great fire annihilation. Wind style. Devastation. Collaboration jutsu. Mass cremation. Tsunade pales at the power of this combination and forces her body to move. Using her strength, she breaks the ground and lifts a boulder as large as she can to block the fire. Her life is saved, but she is still burned. She hears a voice on the other side. New terms Tsunade. She is forced to jump away as quickly as she can as he appears behind her and smashes the boulder with a Rasengan. Survive me. Now Tsunade is beginning to panic as she is smashing clones flying at her at high speed until three manage to hit her in quick succession, knocking her backwards. Naruto begins charging the jutsu which killed Orochimaru and Jiraiya pales. Stop. Naruto and Tsunade turn to face Jiraiya and Naruto cancels the jutsu. Tsunade yells at Jiraiya. Why did you stop us? It's not done yet. But Tsunade notices the serious look on Jiraiya's face and the amount of sweat. Yes, it is Tsunade. If this fight continued, you would be dead. Shizune frowns. What are you talking about? Sure, it was impressive, but Tsunade could take more than that. Jiraiya turns to Shizune. You saw the jutsu he was readying. Tsunade and Shizune nod. Tsunade, do you think you are better at dodging than Orochimaru? Tsunade shrugs. No. I admit that slippery bastard has me there. Why? Jiraiya closes his eyes. Because according to the Hokage, that jutsu he was about to use is what killed Orochimaru and he failed to dodge it. Tsunade and Shizune pale and turn to Naruto, who is standing looking at Jiraiya as if nothing happened. Completely calm. Tsunade gulps. I think I've seen enough. Naruto turns to Tsunade and nods. I'm going to go rent a room for the night. We can leave tomorrow if you feel up to it. I would like to be back in Konoha by the end of the week though. Tsunade nods and Naruto walks away. That attitude was a complete 180. He went from confident but normal to a battle-hardened shinobi in under a second. From his first attack I was so shocked I could barely react. I've never even heard of shadow clones being used like he did. Complete genius. Jiraiya nods. One thing the old man said before we left. Under no circumstances piss Naruto off. Congrats Tsunade, you did so, and you lived. Tsunade nods. Yeah, I guess he hates to be underestimated. Shizune blinks. I don't think that's it. Jiraiya and Tsunade turn to look at Shizune. Based on what he told us in his history, I would say underestimation is preferable, but he's severely family focused. It never feels good when your family doesn't believe in your skills. I think he felt betrayed by you not taking him seriously. Abandoned. There was anger there, sure, but when the fight was over there was nothing. As though he was empty. An abyss of sadness. His ANBU training and routines took over for him and covered it, but it was there in his eyes. Jiraiya nods and smiles. Makes sense. You know Shizune, I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up seeing you as a friend or family, given you seem to read him well. That would be good for you too. Tsunade looks at Jiraiya and squints. What do you mean? If you're being a pervert, he stops her with a hand held up and a frown. Nothing like that. I have no experience with him, but when he met me, I was doing my research. He took great offense not just because he hates perverts but because his fiancée was involved. As you said, he values family and will go to great lengths to protect his family. Tsunade nods. Kushina was the same. Well, let's go get some rest. I think it's going to be a long day tomorrow. 2 days later in the middle of nowhere. Are any of you sensors? Shizune nods. My range is only about 15 miles in any direction though. Naruto nods. Would you please take a look around us and see if there is anybody within 15 miles of us? Shizune hesitantly nods before stretching out her senses. A few minutes later she opens her eyes. It's clear for now. A couple civilians at the edge of my range on the closest road, but they kept going and I can't sense them anymore. Thanks, Shizune. I need to stop here for a bit. Jiraiya his head. I thought you were in a hurry. Naruto grins. I am, but I need to do something I've been putting off for about 4 years. I'm finally ready. Tsunade crosses her arms under her, drawing Jiraiya's gaze. What's that? Naruto unseals the Dragon Clan contract. Do you know what this is? Tsunade anime falls. I've never seen that contract. Where on earth did you find it? Naruto looks at it with nostalgia in his eyes. Uzushigakur. Along with your grandmother's sword and a scroll filled with seals and Uzumaki clan jutsu. Kakashi recommended I wait to sign it until I was stronger and away from any village or people. This is the first opportunity I've had since then. Tsunade nods. If you're sure, then sign it and summon the boss. Naruto nods and opens the scroll. Cutting his finger with a kunai, he signs his name and places his fingerprints in the box with his chakra. He then goes through hand signs and slams his hand on the ground. Summoning jutsu. A large puff of smoke explodes before a gust of wind blows it away. With a deafening roar, they are greeted with the sight of a 50-foot bone white dragon who is looking at his summoner with an eye that denotes wisdom and power. Naruto has no doubt if he fails to impress, he will cease to exist. I am Whis, Lord of the Dragon Clan. Who are you to have summoned me, Crimson One? Naruto kneels in respect but keeps eye contact without flinching. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, and to protect those I love I seek power and allies. The dragon cranes his neck to look Naruto in the eye, noticing a lack of fear. Smiling internally, he likes what he sees. Brave, intelligent, humble and noble. You embody the highest values of the dragon, Naruto. I would name you summoner right now, but our laws insist I test you. Dragon scales are incredibly hard. You must survive for 5 minutes as I try to kill you or strike a blow hard enough to make me feel it. I will warn you, there have been many over the centuries to try this and all have failed and perished. Will you take my test knowing this? Naruto rises to his feet and looks the dragon in the eye with a smile. I suggest you all retreat to a safe distance to watch. Hehehe, I might actually have to use my full power for this fight. Naruto's eyes change as the others pull back to the edge of the field they are on. Kitsunegan. Oh, interesting eyes you have. This might be fun. Let's begin. With a mighty roar, the dragon takes off in flight and unleashes a torrent of flame, the likes of which the spectators have never seen. About to rush to his aid, they stop when they notice Naruto standing still in the middle of the scorched earth, completely unharmed before they lose sight of him. Shizune points. Above. Jiraiya's mouth drops. That was almost as fast as Hiraishin. Whis flips in midair before Naruto can strike and slams him into the ground using his tail. However, Naruto takes the opportunity to grab the tail and slam the dragon into the ground. Flashing above the dragon, he forms a clone and together they multiply the power of his jutsu, sacrificing rapid fire for sheer power. Lightning style. Raise Nobliterator. The sheer destruction of the jutsu shocks them all. The resulting dome of crackling energy expands, destroying everything in its path until just a mile away from where they are. When the dust clears, they see Naruto sitting on the ground, clearly exhausted, and the dragon smoking nearby, shaking. Naruto signals them over and they move as fast as they can. When they arrive, the air shocked to hear Whis holding his stomach laughing. Oh, Naruto my boy, I haven't been tagged like that in millennia. Most impressive indeed. You have passed the test of the Dragon Clan and I acknowledge you as our summoner. Call upon us whenever you are in need of help. For power or advice, it matters not. Naruto grins and bows in respect to the Dragon Lord. If you don't mind, do you have a messenger? Weiss nods. Sora is our fastest. He will aid you. Summon him whenever you wish. Now I am afraid I must rest. It has been a pleasure, my friend. Weiss disappears in a puff of smoke and Tsunade moves to heal Naruto as Jiraiya speaks. After we get back, I think I will go to the Toads and get drunk off my with Bunta. Naruto and Tsunade laugh while Shizune giggles. Naruto gets up and begins summoning again. Summoning jutsu. A small puff of smoke blows away, revealing a small sky blue dragon. Ah, you must be our new summoner. An honor to meet you, Lord Naruto. I am Sora the messenger at your service. Naruto smiles. The honor is mine, Sora. Fishing a picture of Anko out of his pocket, he shows it to Sora. Oh, attractive woman. Naruto grins. I think so. Anyway, I would like you to fly to Konoha and tell her I will return in 3 days. She must be worrying by now. Her name is Anko Mitarashi. Sora nods and takes off towards Konoha at supersonic speed, knocking them off balance for a moment. Jiraiya whistles. When he said fast, he meant it. Shizune giggles. Charming too. Naruto smiles and moves to leave. Well, I know one thing that's going to make Anko happy. When we get back, I'm going to need a change of clothes. ANBU gear was getting kind of dull anyway, and that means shopping. Tsunade laughs and claps him on the back as they leave. Over the 3 days it took to return to the village Naruto, Tsunade and Shizune got to know each other well and became close friends, much to Jiraiya's horror. Just as they were passing through the gates of the village, they were put on guard as Naruto was assaulted by fast-moving brown and purple blur, knocking him to the ground. They were all in shock until they heard Naruto laughing. I see you missed me, Anko Hime. Anko punches his arm, causing him to wince. You were gone almost a month with no communication. Of course, I was worried, Baka. Naruto chuckles and kisses Anko. I'm sorry, Hime. I had no means of communication until I had the opportunity to sign the summoning contract. I did so as soon as I could. Anko pouts. Well, at least you're back. Now you got the contract, you better send more letters in the future, got it? Naruto hugs her tight. I promise. Tsunade smirks. Hey brat. Mission accomplished. Go shopping for new clothes with your girl. I can take it from here. Meet me at the hospital tomorrow to look at what's left of the snake though. Naruto nods with a smile. As she walks off, Anko gets a predatory smile. Did she say shopping? Oh, I need to go get the girls. This is gonna be fun. Naruto sweat drops and smiles nervously. Why do I have a sudden feeling of dread? Ha 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 ha, because you aren't stupid, kid. Bah ha 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 ha. Let the show begin. One horrifying and emasculating day later. Naruto loves his new look but is going to work on forgetting the experience of how he got it. Decked out in black ANBU pants and boots. Skin-tight blood red shirt with a black flak jacket, black fingerless gloves with plated knuckles and completed with a red haori with black flames around the bottom and a golden fox on the back. He admits he loves the look. Now at the hospital looking in on Tsunade to find out if she could confirm his kill. Oh good, you're here. Good news, brat. It was difficult, but I can clearly identify Orochimaru's DNA in this finger. Disgusting as it is, he didn't mix it with those he took over. More like he altered his body and mind to meld with the body, keeping both intact in the same space. I wouldn't be surprised if parts of him are floating around in some dimensional space somewhere along with that of his victims. Naruto's face is surprisingly blank at hearing this surprising Tsunade. You don't seem surprised. Naruto shrugs. I suspect he did worse and more disgusting things in his life simply because in ANBU I did see worse. Admittedly not my favorite memories. Tsunade nods. I bet. So, what are you going to do with all that money? Naruto places his hand on his chin in a thinking pose. Not sure, to be honest. Save up to support future generations maybe. Invest in a project for the betterment of the village. I'll decide if the time comes. Better to have it and not need it than to throw it away on something frivolous. Tsunade frowns. Don't pull any punches, do you, kid? Naruto smiles as he walks out to go claim his bounty. Not when it comes to family. Naruto then travels to Higarashi's for his final stop before heading to the training fields to find his students. Entering the store, he once again finds Tenten at the counter. Hello again, Tenten. Tenten squints at the customer. I'm sorry, do I know you? Naruto grins like a fox and chuckles. Anko loved the ring you made for us. Tenten's eyes widen in recognition. Ah, it never gets old the looks people give when they recognize me. Ha 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 ha. Red Fox. Naruto nods. Yes, though I transferred to regular duty about a month ago. It's just Naruto now. Tenten blushes in embarrassment and because of the hottie right in front of her. Sorry Naruto. Can I help you with something? Naruto nods and gets down to business. Two things as a matter of fact. First, I need 2 chakra litmus papers. Second, I need another custom jewelry job if you are up to the challenge. Naruto hands her the design for a new ring. Interlinking Uzumaki swirls topped with a namikaze crest being circled by a gold dragon and jade snake. The design once again stuns Tenten with its beauty. Naruto, you have a real talent for jewelry design. Same materials. Naruto nods. If you have enough for 2. If not, I can give you more of those kunai. Tenten pouts cutely and begins her calculations. If you have 1 more of those kunai on you it would definitely help. As to price they will add up to about 9,000 ryo each. It's a bit more than the last one because the design is more intricate, and it'll take a couple weeks. Naruto nods with a smile and hands over the kunai and money. ANBU pays well, I take it. Naruto grins. It's not easy work and many people don't deal well with what you have to see and do, so yeah, it pays pretty good. Then there is the perks too. Bounties are easier to find on ANBU duty, for example, as are a lot of unique weapons and other things. Most people rotate out after 2 or 3 years though. If you aren't extremely stable, it can wear on your mind, and there have been a few who went insane or psycho. You don't sugarcoat anything, do you? Naruto shakes his head as she hands him the litmus paper. When I said you would do well in ANBU I meant it, but it's not for everybody. If you ever take it up and would like some advice, feel free to look me up. I hold most of the records in ANBU now. Naruto grins as he walks out. I wonder what he means by records. Heard about that once. It's like a game to them. To keep score on certain things is a personal challenge. It's a coping mechanism. Anything from time served, number of kills to fastest time from point A to point B. Impressive if he holds most of them. Some of them have been around since the second Hokage was in power. Wow. What do you think, Dad? Should I work to enter ANBU? I think it's up to you. But if you do, I want you to work hard and train harder. ANBU are the best of the best and I want you to make a name for yourself and come out alive and whole. Tenten smiles and nods, having found herself a role model and goal. Ino and Sakura are walking back to the training field to continue their training after their lunch. They've changed quite a lot over the past month. Both growing several inches and putting on a respectable layer of muscle. Much to both their delight, their assets have grown as well. Both are now considered the hottest girls of their generation and neither is hurting for attention. Once they arrive, they both stop when they notice a familiar redhead seemingly taking a nap under the shade of a tree. Ino grins and they rush to see him. Naruto. Naruto opens his eyes with a smile, looking at the 2 beauties running towards him. Hello girls. You 2 look like your training is paying off. Ino bounces up and down in excitement, causing a jiggle which has knocked out many men with nosebleeds. It's been great. We've been beating the boys off with a stick. Naruto laughs. Good. An attractive body brings self-confidence. And your chakra control. Sakura grins. Mastered. And Ino is almost done with water walking as well. Naruto smiles. Laps. Ino smiles. 100 in an hour. Twice a day. Naruto grins wider. I'm impressed with your growth. Keep this up and you 2 will dominate the next Chunin exams. Ino and Sakura high-five each other. Okay, settle down girls. Now for the next stage. Here are chakra litmus papers. Channel chakra into it and it will tell you your affinities. Lightning will make it crumple, fire burns, water soaks, wind cuts and earth crumbles. You first Sakura. Sakura's paper soaks and crumples. Water and lightning. I can help with lightning and so can Kakashi. For water, Yugao I believe has that element. Now you Ino. Ino's paper burns and cuts and a third part gets wet almost unnoticeably. Nice fire and wind. A great combo. Also, a very weak water element. You know you're both lucky. Sakura frowns and blinks. Why's that? Naruto smiles. Everybody has at least one affinity though it sometimes can take some time to be readable however most people don't get a second element until they are mid-chunin. Mastering 2 elements is a requirement for becoming Junin unless you go through ANBU or are promoted from special Junin through field promotion. That's how most Hyuga get their promotions. Ino, it may interest you to know the wind element is quite rare in the leaf. I only know of 3 people who use it. One is Danzo, who I highly recommend you avoid at all cost. He's not bad as such but his methods are not for most people, as your father can tell you. And the other 2 you already know. Your sensei Asuma and myself. Fire will be easy to find though because that's very common in fire country. Ino smiles before she frowns in thought. What did you mean by a powerful combo? Naruto points a finger in the air. A good question. You know how each element has a weakness, correct? And how each element makes its opposite element harder to learn unless it's your affinity. The 2 girls nod. You also know that some bloodlines combine elements into sub-elements. Ino frowns but Sakura nods. Like ice, right? It's water and wind. Naruto nods. Wood also. It comes from earth, water and yang release. There are many others of course like particle style, lava style, steam style, corrosive, explosion and others besides. These all require the relevant bloodline to use, however. But there is nothing to say you cannot enhance an element with another. For example, what happens when you pass electricity through water? Or when you blow air on a fire? Ino's and Sakura's eyes widen in realization of what Naruto is telling them. Naruto grins. Would you like to see? Ino and Sakura nod. Naruto stands and faces the center of the field and performs an impressive fireball jutsu. He then does great breakthrough, putting out the fire and tearing up the earth. As you can see on their own, such jutsu can be quite powerful. Now let's combine them. Ino frowns. How? You can't use 2 elements at the same time without a bloodline. Naruto smiles. Normally no, but have you heard of the shadow clone jutsu? Ino nods. It's a kinjutsu which divides your chakra equally to create a solid clone. It's commonly known among Junin. Are you saying by using a shadow clone you can use 2 different elements at once? Naruto nods. Or 3. I made a nice earth, wind and fire combo a while back, as Tsunade can attest to. Now watch this. Shadow clone jutsu. Fire style. Fireball jutsu. Wind style. Great breakthrough. The result was a fireball 5 times the size of the first one, astonishing the girls. You see. Sakura nods. I can't unsee that. Naruto chuckles. Believe it or not, I had the same reaction the first time I saw a collaboration jutsu. It's a chunin level skill requiring great teamwork. See too much wind and you put out the fire. Too much fire and it will blow up in your face. Ino nods. Oh, by the way Ino, have you learned any new clan jutsu? Ino grins. I learned mind destruction and mind walker. Though daddy was hesitant about teaching me the last one. Naruto nods in understanding. Something I forgot to tell you last time Ino, and this is important. As you know, your mind jutsu have some major weaknesses, so don't rely too heavily on them. But most importantly, never use them on a Jinchuriki. Ino frowns. Is it dangerous? Naruto nods. Extremely. Jinchuriki share a space in their mind with the beast in question and they don't take kindly to intruders. Physically they can't hurt you because they are sealed, but they can damage your mind. Kurama tells me there have been times in the past where minds were completely destroyed, leaving the person as a vegetable, and he can remember where the person's brain boiled and leaked out his ears. Ino pales and Naruto grins. So, Remember, if you ever want to meet Kurama, then you gotta ask first. Ino whips her head in Naruto's direction. You mean that? Naruto nods. He's been locked up over 100 years, Ino. It's not so terribly entertaining in there just looking at my memories or my life as I see it. Ino frowns then smiles. Gotta admit, the idea of talking to him terrifies me, but the opportunity to do so safely is tempting. Some other time maybe. Naruto grins and nods. Okay, Sakura Genjutsu. What have you learned? Sakura frowns. Sadly, not much. 2 new Genjutsu, but I have trouble sometimes. Naruto nods and closes his eyes to think. I take it you have trouble picturing what you want the victim to see. Sakura nods. Genjutsu might not be your thing then. Maybe medical jutsu then. Don't give up on the Genjutsu, but try fit in some time at the hospital sometime. Sakura nods with a smile. Okay, last thing for today is physical training. Now you've both done well so far, but to proceed from this point you need weights. When you get the chance, I want you to go to Higarashi's and purchase a set of chakra weights for yourselves. Use them while you continue training. Once the weight becomes easy, turn them off for a few days to get used to the changes before upping the weight. Focus on taijutsu and running. We don't want you bulking up, we want lean muscle. Remember to drop the weights when on missions and when you take the Chunin exams, or at least reduce them. You do not want to overestimate your speed because you forgot. In case you are wondering, this is the kind of training Lee and Guy do. Sakura and Ino grin. Alright girls, you go have some fun today. I'm going to go see if Anko is still having fun with her pin cushions or if they took away her toys and put them in cells yet. Ino and Sakura are confused at the terminology and decide to ask their sensei about it later. Ino looks at Sakura and smirks. Wanna go to the hot springs and make out? Sakura looks at Ino like she's stupid before Ino feels a pinch on her and notices Sakura running in the direction of the hot springs and rushes to join her. Nearby, 3 boys who were curious about who the redhead was and what he was doing with the hottest girls in their class are now picking up their jaws off the ground, and a certain Cyclops is giggling perversely and having a severe nosebleed. None of them notice a certain Avenger observing and planning his revenge on perceived slights. For 2 weeks Sasuke watched Naruto. Watching him make friends, interact with people as if he was some kind of hero, not knowing how many people he helped during the invasion or his killing of Orochimaru. That smile made him angry. It was like he was laughing at him. Little did he know Naruto was aware of him and waiting for him to make his move. So, when Naruto gets a summons from the council, he smiles, knowing today is the day. As Naruto walks into the council chambers, he stands before the Hokage and the Shinobi Council and new Civilian Council, with Sasuke standing beside Mebuki Haruno. He notes how uncomfortable Mebuki is sitting so close to him and narrows his eyes at the Uchiha. His attention is called back to the front of the room as the Hokage speaks. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. You have been called here to answer to accusations made against you by one Sasuke Uchiha. Naruto nods. And these charges are assault, threat of bodily harm, and theft of an Uchiha blade. Naruto is pissed. The little shit not only is arrogant enough to try this but wants his sword as well. Naruto pulls out the blade and presents it to the council. Is this the blade in question? The council looks to Sasuke, whose eyes are alight with greed, and he is smirking. He nods. It is. Naruto smirks. Gotcha. So, you are saying the sealing blade of Mito Uzumaki taken from the blood-sealed vaults of Uzushigakure. A historically documented Uzumaki blade not seen since her death over 40 years ago is in fact an Uchiha blade stolen from you within your lifetime. Are you aware of the penalty for false accusations against a superior officer? Oh, let's not forget this assault and threat charge. When did this happen? Sasuke frowns. 2 weeks ago at my compound. Naruto smiles, knowing he's won. You mean when I was outside the village on a mission to retrieve Lady Tsunade with Jiraiya of the Sannin? Damn Sasuke, I knew you had your problems, but now I question your mind. I wonder, would the council indulge me a moment? Curious as to what he has in mind, they assent. Naruto sheathes his blade and begins to walk towards Sasuke, who by this point is panicking. Stop. Stay away from me. I'm an Uchiha, you will bow to my demands. Naruto continues towards him, ignoring his mania, but stops once Sasuke pulls a kunai and places it at Mebuki's throat. As suspected, Lord Hokage. Hiruzen nods. ANBU detain him. An ANBU drops from the ceiling and grabs Sasuke by the arm, stopping him from moving. Naruto continues forwards and stands by Mebuki. Are you alright, Mebuki? She nods in relief. Sorry for this, Naruto. He threatened my daughter if I said anything or didn't play along. Naruto nods in understanding. It's fine, Mebuki. After all, I have seen you have a measure of my trust. I suspected he was unstable, but I did not anticipate him trying to manipulate you in this way. ANBU, would you mind holding him still against the table, please? I would like to examine his seal. The ANBU nods and Naruto pulls down his shirt. Get your hands off me, peasant. Naruto ignores him and examines the seal. It's spreading slowly and has already spread past the evil containment seal placed by Kakashi. The Hokage raises an eyebrow. What is your opinion, Naruto? Naruto looks at the Hokage and shakes his head. I'm no seal master, though I am studying the art, but this seal appears to be affecting his mind. I don't know if it is due to his behavior or has something to do with Orochimaru's death, but it is spreading. Soon the evil containment seal will break, and it will take over. His mind is already beyond help, but I can seal it with my blade permanently. This will ease the effects and he will be docile if not quite lucid, but it will also seal his chakra permanently and he will likely never fully recover. If I do this, I would recommend confinement and that he be guarded and cared for. If he is luck, his mind might make a full recovery, but his chakra will be gone. Danzo ponders. Will it stop him having children? Naruto frowns at Danzo, knowing what he wants but also knowing he will be dead before the children ever become useful to him. No, though he will not be fit to raise them. Not that he is now anyway. Given Uchiha children have a history of violence and anger, I would recommend they be raised in a heavily family-oriented environment and be watched carefully. At least at first. It's unknown if the personality problems of the Uchiha are due to their bloodline or to their upbringing. Danzo nods, happy with the outcome. Hiruzen considers before nodding his assent. Do it. Naruto nods and turns to Sume. Lady Sume, would you please help restrain him? The ANBU can hold his arms, but if he moves his head too much, I might cut too deep. Sume rises and moves to do so. Naruto draws his sword and Sasuke starts thrashing around. Sume snarls in his ear. Still, pupper, you might lose more than your mind and chakra. No, I won't let you deny my revenge. I have to kill Itachi. I need more power. Naruto pumps chakra into the sealing blade and cuts the seal across the middle. The seal retreats into itself before being surrounded by a complex sealing formula and separating each tomo on the seal with a line of script. A second layer of script is now appearing around the outside of the seal, causing Sasuke to stop struggling and go limp and silent. It's done. He will take some time to wake up, but I don't know what state he will be in when he does beyond docile. He pushed the seal even further than it was before I could seal it, and it likely did some damage to his mind. Hiruzen nods as Sume sits back down. Thank you, Naruto. I am sorry for all this. Naruto shrugs. Itachi always asked me to look after his brother when he was not around. Honestly, I've seen something like this coming for a while. Though I expected him to desert the village to go looking for power. Not him coming after me. I hope Ino and Sakura don't hate me for this though. I am rather proud of their growth recently, though I know they were both infatuated with Sasuke. Inoichi and Mebuki share a look and laugh, causing some confusion. I'm sorry, did I say something amusing? Inoichi shakes his head. You did them a favor. Mebuki nods. During their training they both discovered they didn't like boys as much as they thought. They got together shortly after. Now when the time comes, they can surrogate a child from the crush they shared and help the village all the same. Naruto blushes and rubs the back of his head. Okay, I didn't expect that. All's well that ends well, I suppose. Hiruzen wipes the blood from his nose and chuckles. You are free to go, Naruto. Try to enjoy your day. Naruto walks out, and as soon as he's gone, Sum grins. Anybody else notice how Naruto was the only man in the room not to have a nosebleed? All the ladies chuckle and look at all the men with an evil glint in their eyes. Inoichi smiles. Well, not quite. I had no such thoughts myself, so if you don't mind, I think I will head home to the wife. Bye guys. Hope you survive. Inoichi walks out of the room like a boss, and every man in the room pales in fear. The ANBU in the shadows are all grinning behind their masks. Sometimes this job had its perks. Hehehehe, hope you guys enjoyed my solution to Sakura and Ino's fangirlism. Next chapter will have a little fluff and hinting at adult scenes, followed by a stint of Naruto lecturing at the academy. Something to look forward to. Don't forget to recommend, review, and most of all enjoy.